man, I am so glad to be back. I have a special edition of Fantasy Football Monday, but the whole premise is all questions are answered, anything goes. All questions are answered and anything goes. So whatever you want to talk about, whatever I want to talk about. I'll be live, no commercial breaks, just 3 straight hours of football talk, even though I can barely talk. My throat is killing me. The Chiefs, Sunday night football. I mean, where do we start? Where do you want to start? A-Tag, Lion. I fully expected to come on here. I fully expected to come on here and say, listen, Lions fans, you're still in first place. You hold the tiebreaker over the Vikings. It's an AFC opponent. There is no need to panic. Everybody has a bad game. Not everybody throws 5 interceptions in a game, but I've seen it happen. Oh, no. Oh, no. On the road, after 5 interceptions, was it 4 in the first half? No, it was 3 in the first half. They come back. I swear the kick was going to go off the upright. Lions fans breathed it in. I'm sitting there watching Sunday Night Football like this. Oh my God. Oh my God. And by the way, the Texans, they're 2 games ahead of the Colts. They already beat the Colts. They're going to win that division. That division is terrible. That AFC South is just awful. I mean, now the good news is Texans have a couple of very, very winnable games. Texans win. If the Texans win, which it looked like it was going to happen for 59 and a half minutes or whatever, at 7-3, they could go, okay, listen, we can maybe snag a 2. They play Kansas City in a couple of weeks. They could realistically be thinking, 3-2 or 1 home field advantage. No, they're going to get a home win. They're probably getting a home playoff game. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. Last time they hosted a playoff game at home, it was pretty good. They were underdogs to the Browns. Remember that? But the Lions, even if they lose, they're still the 1 seed. They play the Vikings. I believe it's the last game of the season. I don't know it off the top of my head. I should. I don't know. But yeah, I should know. I apologize. They don't have to worry about it. They're 1 game ahead of the Vikings. By the way, if the playoffs were to start today, both the Packers and the Vikings are in the playoffs. It's kind of funny because in the AFC, I think there's going to be a 9-win team that gets in. On the NFC, I think there's going to be a 10-win team sitting out. Maybe an 11-win team sitting out. Dave! Danny boy, you've been missed. Ha like a lost puppy this week. I am so glad to be back. So glad to be back. Aura. By the way, I didn't realize it, but this is Honolulu blue. This is it's more gray than silver, but I am wearing Lions colors. Oh my God. Oh my God. The B in the Back Talk brothers. The great one. The talent. Gooch. What you thought I wasn't going to pop in. Gooch, I didn't do it last night. I completely forgot. I can go on and I can check. I have no idea who won between Bama and LSU. I got the game on DVR. I might watch it after the show. I have no idea what happened. No idea. I know Georgia lost. Some craziness in college football. been really paying it. I know Miami lost, and I also am I'm debating. I probably won't have the time, but I would love to do like an early mock draft. And the reason why is I've seen some bad ones out there. I don't like doing mock drafts till after the combine. I might do one before the combine this year. This year, I'm really leaning towards doing 2 mock drafts weekly, one with trades, one without. Because right now, if the draft were to start today, Jacksonville Jaguars have #1 pick in the draft. Giants would be #2. There's no way these two teams aren't flip flopping. No way. And I would have the Giants taking Shadir Sanders. That's like a hand in a glove. But we'll have to wait and see. But Gooch, I got a lot to talk to you about. So, man, I'm so glad to see you. Sisu, my German brother, man. Yo, man, you're 1 week away. I lost fantasy. It sucks. I'm here today. Don't forget, I'm on Twitter or X. I'm also on Instagram. You can go old school and email me. I'm going to stay in touch. So stay in touch with me. Dave says record is 4-6 now. Listen to all experts all weekend. If I would have started Murray, I would have won. I said, do not blame yourself. Do not blame yourself. I'm drawing a blank on who the other quarterback was besides Murray. Jets. I have no answer. Here's the thing. Here's the answer. Here's the deal with the Jets. I understand the offense isn't good. I understand they're losing. I don't have an answer about the defense. I know they got some injuries, but I mean, if I was ranking the players, like all the players are really good. I know Sauce Gardner had that tackle where I don't know if you saw it or not, but I'll grade him 8 minutes into a show, and I forget the tight end. Oh yeah, McBride. He tackles McBride, but he just spins him around, and McBride uses the momentum from the spin, takes 2 steps, hurdles the defender, gets like another 7 or 8 yards. But what should have been a stop on 3rd down ended up being a first down. By the way, Trey McBride, that's the best tight end in football. I don't care if you want to tell me Kelsey, Laporta, Kittle. You can tell me all those guys. Trey McBride's the best tight end in football. That dude does everything. Guy, I loved coming out of Colorado State. I've not seen a college program. Keep in mind, Colorado State's a Mountain West team. I've not seen a team in college utilize their tight end like they did McBride. He was their #1 weapon. It wasn't like Florida with Kyle Pitts because they had other guys that they used. But Colorado State isolated him, and I was like, well, it's Colorado State, and I just kept watching him play. I'm like, this. Yeah, Trey McBride's the best tight end in football. Funk! Just a reminder, I hate my own fan base. I heard from a few people today that Goff was not responsible for any of his picks. The one thing that really stood out to me, and I think is an issue going forward with the Detroit Lions, is that when you pressure Goff, he does not handle it well. He really doesn't handle it well. There's a lot of things about Goff I like. I used this phrase. I haven't used it too much recently, but one thing about Goff is he's just a natural passer. He's just one of those guys. I think you could hand him anything, like coconuts, for example, and he'd be able to throw them well. Years ago, there was a clip where he dressed up as like a JUCO quarterback, and he was like just making jokes. He had like this neck tattoo and put on this wig, and he was like, telling the other quarterbacks like, "Hey, are you a receiver?" I don't know if you saw that or not. It was funny as hell, but I always liked Goff, but if you put pressure on him, he does not handle that well. And I remember thinking that I was fully expecting to come on here and to try to talk you guys off a ledge. But, instead of that, I'm sitting here and I'm giving praise. I don't like weekly rankings, but if I did do rankings, I would power rankings. I would put the Lions as the number one team in the NFL over my Chiefs. I really would. I think if the Lions Chiefs play in the Super Bowl, it's going to be a lot of fun. I think for my fan base, for the Lions fan base, a lot of trash talk. I imagine friendly trash talk, but a lot of it. Golf was. I know for a fact golf was responsible. I know one was tipped. The Hail Mary doesn't count. One was 100% his fault. And, the conversation you put in the comments in preseason, I don't even want to look at golf. I want to look at Hendon Hooker. And I'm kind of surprised that Hendon Hooker, because of his athleticism and his running ability, is not been used in any packages at all. Chiefs use Carson Wentz, just saying. But, yeah, I trust me, I understand. Like the last couple of years, being part of the Dynasty has been great. We attract all sorts of crazy fans. So, we got Swifties we got to deal with. So I get it, Funk. Trust me, I get it, because you've been with me for several years. You were there when Campbell took over, what was it, 0-10-1 at one point, and you were still a fan. Those guys, there's not too many of those guys. You got the guys, oh yeah, longtime Lions fan, all the way back since 2023. That's what you got now. Trust me, it's annoying as hell. And it's going to get worse too, because the Lions are, let's be honest, they're the best team in football. I want to get Chase. Oh yes. Okay, so I'm so happy to hear that you hit a parlay. I never, ever, ever recommend parlays, but I am so happy when people hit. When you go ahead and you hit a parlay, it's always a good thing. Always a good thing. I'm always a fan of people hitting parlays. I never bet them. If it's a 3 or 4 leg parlay that you hit, hopefully you want a lot of money. I would always make 3 or 4 separate bets. But I do have a system of how I would do a parlay, but I never do them. But I am so grateful and happy that you won yours, and it means that you won. I won 3 separate bets this weekend. I did 2. Actually, it's a great week. I had 2 separate. Again, if you're a Harris fan, I'm not begrudging you. I made 2 bets on Trump. I had 2 in-game bets with the Chiefs, and then I took Steelers +3. So I had a great week. My $100 deposit in the Bet US is I don't have it pulled up. It's like 540 something right now. Yeah, I made a $100 deposit, and you know what? I'm not going to show you. I could flip my screen and show you, but as my correction, 531.93. 531.93. Probably not going to bet at all this week. We'll see what happens. I haven't looked at the lines. I tag, this is exactly the news I want to hear. You win in fantasy football. Your team won. You hit your parlay. This is my favorite part about doing the show. It's the reason why I do it. Dan DBC. How's it going, Dan? I won my matchup this week. I'm 6-4 now. Yes, I beat first place. That's even better. I mean, 6-4 is solid. You're probably getting into the playoffs, but when you beat the first place guy, that's awesome. Keep me informed on how you're doing. Funk, Dan, do you want to give Glenn some credit now? Yes, I've been anti-Aaron Glenn for a while. There's a lot of things about Aaron Glenn I'm not a fan of. What was it? 23 first half points against a beat up Texans offense. Yeah, I mean, I was like, yeah. I think there's better defensive coordinators. But give him some credit. Give him some credit. Played well in the second half. You don't have your best defensive player. He's going to get a lot of interviews. I don't know off the top of my head if he has any college experience. I'd be curious if he'd be interested in taking over a college program. I don't know what it is about him. Something about him just I kind of got the feeling he might be a guy better suited for college than pro, but I have no idea. You know where I think he'd be a great fit for if by the way, it's a big if, huge if, because I don't see Jerry Jones giving him reins to make the adjustments, but Aaron Glenn in Dallas, because Mike McCarthy's not getting that job. Aaron Glenn in Dallas would make a lot of sense. I really believe that. I know I just said he's better suited for the college game, and I think he might be, but Dallas Cowboys, their team is going to make a change, and if in case you missed it, he's from Houston, played for both the Texans and the Cowboys. I remember he's first round pick for the Jets. If you remember the Dan Marino spike game, that's the player he picked on was Aaron Glenn. I've been following Aaron Glenn. I was a huge fan of him coming out of Texas A&M, but he's going to get a lot of interviews. And yeah, he deserves some credit. He really does. I was prepared to trash him. I was like, this, I was sitting here and I was like, yeah, you may want to get a new defensive coordinator. By the way, I mean, one thing you're going to find out, and the Chiefs have had to do this, Rams have had to do this. I'm trying to think off the top of my head, other franchises that constantly revolve, both the Ravens. I was going to say both the Harbaugh brothers have had to deal with this, but I mean, year one. But you're going to lose coordinators, and you got to replace those guys. 2025, you're probably going to be without your offensive and defensive coordinators. And what do? They usually poach assistant coaches. Mark Brunell, the quarterback coach, he'll probably leave with Ben Johnson and become the offensive coordinator. And it will have an effect. Take a look at Baltimore. Their defensive coordinator left to take the head coaching job in Miami. The defensive line coach took the defensive coordinator job. I'm sorry, in Seattle. Mike McDonald took the head coaching job in Seattle. Anthony Weaver took the defensive coordinator job in Miami. And there's been some problems in Baltimore, with the defense. So be prepared for that. Just full disclosure, but yeah, give him credit where credit's due. Did a fantastic job. It was funny because I know you watched it, but so I always fast forward through stuff. So like I fast forwarded through Dan Campbell talking, like I didn't need to hear it, and then next thing I know, the Lions are snapping the ball. I'm like, what the hell? And then I went back and I heard Dan Campbell say, hey, we got to get some turnovers. And then 1 second later, Carlton Davis has the ball in his hands. And it's like, that's pretty cool. Pretty cool. But yeah, I got to eat some crow. I ate some crow. This is a guy who's going to be I don't know if he's going to get a head coaching job, but he'll get a lot of interviews. And I have no idea if he wants to coach in college, but if he does, he could potentially get a lot of money from a college program, probably more in the NFL. I don't think it'll happen because I could see him wanting to go to Dallas, him wanting to run things, and Jerry Jones, of course, was a hands-on type of guy. It may be a little too frustrating for him. But anyway, we'll wait and see. But Aaron Glenn, yeah, did an A+ job, eating some crow left and right here. Andre, Dan Kareem Hunt is on and I Isaiah Pacheco is going to come back to practice in a couple of weeks. They showed something that he has the second most touches over like the last several weeks or something. The only one that has more touches is Derrick Henry, but the Chiefs really, I mean, he's been playing lights out. The speed obviously isn't there, but he gets those first downs. The Chiefs offensive line, A+. Trey Smith is a guy that probably going to lose in free agency. Wanda Morris, when he went down with injury, Kingsley Mateo took over, had some real problems. Something Chiefs are going to have to work out. I'm kind of surprised that the Chiefs haven't reached out to David Bacchiata, drawing a blank, who was the Chiefs left tackle last year from Tampa, but they haven't reached out to. I'm kind of surprised the Chiefs haven't reached out to some people. But yeah, I mean, Kareem Hunt's just been playing lights out, and hopefully it'll continue. I mean, it's a great story. I think it's a great story. But we'll have to see if it continues. I'm pulling for him. I don't think it's likely, but I'd love to see him stay in Kansas City. Maybe just take a team-friendly deal, split some time with Pacheco. We'll see what happens. I just brought the big coffee cup today. No energy drink. Not yet. But. Lineup for Week 11: Aaron Rodgers, Debo, Pickens, Bajan, Brees, Kraft, Jacobs in the flex, Aubrey, Texans, or KCD. Bench D, Adams, Addison, Javonte, Ingram, Johnson. Would you make any changes? Let's. I'm going to be honest with you. The Chiefs against Buffalo in Buffalo does kind of scare me a little bit. Full disclosure, it does scare me. Will Anderson, I think, will be back against Dallas, but I would really lean towards the Texans' defense against Kansas City. I know it's hard for me to say. I do think Davante Adams could have a big game. Don't get me wrong. I mean, the Rodgers, Davante Adams, but I don't see how you bench Debo or Pickens. I mean, Debo against Seattle, I think, could have a huge game. Pickens, I think with Russell Wilson is a must start. I don't know what the numbers were off the top of my head, but it's going to be a fun game, Baltimore-Pittsburgh. So, let's see here. I keep talking about Javonte Adams, but I'm sorry, Javonte Williams, but they really went with fifth round rookie. He wears number 23. Javonte Williams wears 33. I kept on getting the two confused. I'll stick fifth round pick out of Notre Dame. I remember he ran to 4.72, and that just killed his 40 time, but he got more touches, and he looked really, really, really good. So as much as I love Williams, you can't play him right now. Johnson's also been red hot lately. Again, I don't know how you bench Debo or Pickens. Ingram over Kraft, maybe, but I really like Kraft's game. I have no. Jacksonville to me just looks like a complete disaster. Just looks like a complete disaster. They're at Detroit. Detroit's a 900-point favorite. I got ESPN pulled up. Detroit 13. Kraft against a tough Bears defense. That would be the only one, and I kind of like Kraft a little bit. So I would definitely go with the Texans defense. Dallas just looks like a complete disaster. They're 0-4 at home, which is weird. And I mean, there's all sorts of stuff going on. Yeah, yeah. And by the way, I'm kind of leaning towards this being the Chiefs' first loss of the season at Buffalo. So, but I mean, the Chiefs' defense has been playing lights out lately, so I wouldn't blame you. But I would start the Texans defense. Also, it's a little more fun, personal opinion only, to have a guy play on Monday night. You know what? It's driving me nuts because I remember he's a 5th-round pick out of Notre Dame. He would have been a 3rd-round pick. He ran to 4.72 at the combine, and I remember thinking to myself, that's going to hurt him in the draft. Aldrick Estimine, running back out of Notre Dame. By the way, what a great draft. Vele had a touchdown, 7th-round pick out of Utah. Estimine was the leading rusher, and the game looked really, really, really good. Troy Franklin, they're using Jonah Ellis, I think had a sack in that game. Bo Nix is the real deal. Bo Nix played lights out. I know you can say, oh, he only scored 14 points. No, he played really well. Bo Nix is going to have a very bright future in the NFL. So, yeah, except for that, Dave, stay in touch with me. Let me know how things go. Orion Canyon, what's up, brother? Started 5. Oh, my God. Oh, God. 5-5. Oh, God. Yeah. Okay. Quarterback's Purdy. Okay. You should be solid there. You're going against, I don't think Seattle's defense is all that good. You're at home. So you're in good shape there. Neighbors and Debo, solid. Raiders at Miami. That's kind of a weird thing. And Tyreek Hill, I have no idea. Brian Tom, okay. Got some good players, man. Running backs, Brees, Gibbs, Brooks, Javonte Williams. So Brooks, you're talking about the Carolina Panthers running back. So okay, so and Kincaid got hurt. I haven't had a chance to check out the injury report. Gibbs could have a huge game. I could also see a lot of Montgomery if they get up early. Brees Hall, I know the Jets just look lost right now, so I understand, but really good player. I mean, the good news is you have a Purdy Debo combo that could light it up. I'm assuming you're in a PPR league. Neighbors, they're not on a bye, are they? Yeah, okay, so New York's on a bye. Okay, so you can't play Neighbors. BTJ could have a huge game, and it would be in a losing effort. But and then Tyreek Hill, if you want to roll with Tyreek Hill or not, that's on you. But you may have to do a Tyreek, Debo, BTJ, Brees, Gibbs deal. Chuba Hubbard's just been phenomenal, so I don't think Brooks is playing. Javonte Williams, if you'd listen to me, and you know what, I probably wouldn't have recommended him against the Chiefs, but yeah, they're going to rookie instead, and rookie looked a lot better. But here's what you're doing. Purdy and Debo, that's a lock. You're going with Neighbors. That's another guy. All right, so if you're watching on Instagram, there are some issues. I'm actually going to see if I can fix it right now. All right, bear with me. All right, sorry about this, guys. Yeah, I just got a message saying the Instagram feed was bad for whatever reason. There it is. All right. Purdy and Debo, you're going to play, and you should have a lot of points. Go with Neighbors. Your biggest issue on the flex is going to be whether you want to go with Tyreek or a BTJ. I'll level with you. Tyreek at home. Raiders coming from Vegas to Miami. You may want to go Tyreek in slot or flex. I'm sorry. Who's your other option at tight end? Kincaid may not play. Can you pick somebody up? Let me know. If you mentioned pressure on golf, the Lions fans, they go right to the Lions against the blitz, but they fail to realize there's a difference between pressure and a blitz and having a stud up. Yeah, that's another thing you have to realize is they talked about this many times, but Panay Sewell is just playing like a oh God, I've been watching football a long time. There's not too many better right tackles I've seen than Panay Sewell. And the thing is, you can't bull rush the guy. You get him in open space, he can move. If you put Goff behind a bad offensive line, I understand why the Lions wanted to get rid of him, or the Rams wanted to get rid of him. You put Goff behind a bad offensive line, that's a problem. But you have maybe the best offensive line in football in Detroit. By the way, your backup left tackle played phenomenal. And that's a good defensive front that you're playing in Houston. You know about Danielle Hunter. iTag says, I'm new to football this year, wasn't heavy on it at all. Zero knowledge, became a Lions fan before they blew out Dallas. Didn't know they were good last year. As a new fan to the Lions in the NFL, would you consider me a bandwagon fan? Like the Lions because I thought the O-line was tough as hell. Didn't have a previous team before that. What do you think? I would consider you. So let me back up here, A-Tag. A bandwagon fan is somebody who wasn't a fan before but is a fan now. Nothing wrong with it. You said before you're new to football this year. That's a good thing. You found something that you like and you're a part of it. That's a good thing. I in a perfect world, you see my channel and you're like, hey, I'm new to Dan Talks Football and I enjoy it. I'm going to start watching it. Would I call you a bandwagon fan? Probably. Is that a bad thing? No. Oh, okay. Let me give you another example. I don't know how old you are. In the early 90s, there was a TV show called Northern Exposure. I never watched it. All right. It was on Plex. I got to watch TV to fall asleep. It's a weird quirk, but when I'm not watching football, I have to watch a show and I just pick one. And anyway, this show is fantastic. I love it. I'm a bandwagon Northern Exposure fan. I never watched Friends. I may start watching Friends, even though I've seen clips and highlights and shorts, and I don't think I would like it. It doesn't look like something that would appeal to me. It just doesn't. Like, I look at it and it just is like, I can't relate to it. I don't understand it, but my point is, it doesn't matter. You're new to football. Whoever you pick as your team, you would be kind of jumping on the bandwagon unless you're like, oh, hey, I'm going to become a Jacksonville Jaguars fan. You're not a bandwagon fan to a team that's 2-8. The Lions are the best team in football. You just start following them, you would be considered a bandwagon fan. It's not a bad thing, my friend. If you're somebody like Funk, who has been obsessed with the Lions back when they were, winning 2 games, he would consider you a bandwagon fan. I would also consider you a bandwagon fan. But listen, you're new to football. Hopefully, you're enjoying it. Hopefully, you like it. The way people become fans is they find it. I have a buddy of mine. He's a Cowboys fan. He started watching the Cowboys in the 90s. They were winning games left and right. He became a fan. In the 90s, I would have called him a bandwagon fan. He's been a fan of the Cowboys for the last, 20, 30 years. And since 95, they haven't won a Super Bowl, been to one. But, if you get off the bandwagon because they have a few losses, I'd be like, but pick a team that you like. It's good to find out things that you like. The show Northern Exposure, for example, ended 30 years ago. I just started watching it. I like it. I'm a bandwagon fan to Northern Exposure. So, I think that this is a great thing. I think that if there is a Lions fan out there, they would be proud to be like, hey, this is my brother, So hopefully I didn't turn you off, but I also didn't want to lie to you and tell you, oh, no, you're not a bandwagon fan. Hey, nothing wrong with that. Stay in touch with me, DBC. Austin! Glad to see you. What's up, Dan? I'm trying to sell CD Lamb and DeAndre Swift. I just don't really see much value from Swift's schedule is really tough, and O-line's very banged up, and Lamb has no quarterback. Yeah. You're in a situation where you got to sell low. As far as Swift goes, I don't really hate the matchup against Green Bay. I know that they're publicly saying that they're behind Caleb Williams. I think privately, they know that Tyson Bagent is better. I'm gonna be honest with you. If I'm the Bears and I want to get to the playoffs this year, I'm starting Bagent. I'm not even thinking twice about it. I'm starting Bagent, and it's not even a question. I think that despite of what they're saying publicly, I think they're worried if they bench Caleb Williams, he'll just fold. That's kind of the way I feel, and I think they're just going to keep him out there, and then all of a sudden you'll see like concussion-like symptoms or something like that, and then just have an excuse to get Bagent in there. But Swift, I would hold on to. I don't know what to tell you. Maybe I have no idea if they're going to go with Trey Lance or what they're going to do at quarterback. I didn't watch the game. I'm not going to lie to you. I got really, really into Arizona and the Jets because for about 2.5 quarters, I kept on thinking, okay, when are the Jets coming back? When are the Jets going to make this game? Then they didn't. I went back and watched Chargers, Titans. Titans are garbage. So that's just my opinion. So I'd keep Swift. What are you going to get for Lamb? You may, sir. I'm not even joking. You may be better off just holding on to Lamb because one thing about Trey Lance is, and he does have ability. Like this isn't somebody who just can't play in the NFL. Like these are two guys with ability. They went against a tough team on a short week in a bad situation. You got Monday. I expect whichever quarterback to play better. So this is my advice. Hold on to both. Next week, Lamb and Swift may have some more value. Lamb may have some more value. Swift, we'll have to see. We're gonna have to see. But the one thing about Swift is that if the offense is smart and uses him more as a receiver, the value, especially in PPR league, is still going to go up. So, just my advice: hold on to one more week, and you should be able to get more value, but you'll probably end up selling low. And I would hold on to Swift regardless of everything that's going on in Chicago. I would hold on to him. Personal opinion only. Jason, would I trade Pollard for Ridley or Ladd? I wouldn't trade Pollard, period. I still think he has some value. I don't know what his numbers were last week. Let's just take a look. Let's just have some fun here. I know Spears is getting a few more touches, 9 carries, 44 yards. But before that, it was 17, 16, 20, and 28. Receiving wise, 4 receptions, 19 yards. So, I mean, yeah, it's a little frustrating. 63 total yards in the PPR league. The 4 receptions probably helped out, but I mean, this is a guy. It's still still a really good 3-down back. I never recommend getting rid of a 3-down back. That's just my opinion. You have some good matchups coming up here at Houston, at Washington, Jacksonville, Cincinnati, at the Colts, Jacksonville again. It's iffy what they're going to do with. I have no idea what the Titans are going to do with their quarterback situation, but I would hold on to Pollard. But let's say you're dying to get rid of him. You're absolutely dying to get rid of him. Ladd had a bad game last week, but they really like him. Quentin Johnston's finally living up that number one ability. But I mean, the issue is you got 2 teams leaning on the run. If you absolutely have to do it, I'd actually get rid of him for Ridley between the two, because Ridley's the number one. Ladd's kind of moving into that 2 slot type receiver. So I mean, if you're going to trade a running back number one, trade him for a receiver number one. So I would go with Ridley if you have to do it. I like 3-down running backs personally. That's what I would. That's what that's what I would recommend. But let me know what you do. Jeffrey, what's up, brother? I would. I blame Aaron Rodgers. He's having a terrible year. He's not playing well. I mean, the body language. I'll be honest with you. I really think that there's several people in that locker room that are just like, would love to have him gone. I really think that there's several people in that locker room. I mean, you just look at his body language, his demeanor, his facial expressions. I mean, you're looking at one of the greatest to ever play. I mean, he really is. If you made a top 10 quarterback of all time list and Rodgers isn't on it, it's probably not a valid list. That's just a fact. I mean, he's that good. Just look at him. Look, more importantly, you can't see this a lot, but watch him on the sidelines. He's always by himself. He's always by himself. He's always sulking. He looks like somebody peed in his Wheaties. I mean, it's one thing I started paying attention to a long time ago is watching quarterbacks interact with their teammates on the sidelines. Like Peyton Manning, for example. Peyton Manning always sits with his offensive lineman in a book. I mean, he's always engaging. He's always got his head in the book. He's always trying to make improvements. Always talking to people. I don't see Rodgers doing any of that. That said, this defense last year I thought was the best defense in football, and they got studs on all 3 levels. Sauce Gardner doesn't look like he's into it. The linebackers make these splash plays, but then, they're not. I see a lot of shoulder tackling. I don't see a lot of enthusiasm. This defensive line, which looked dominant last year. Now, keep in mind, Jermaine Johnson, I know he went to a Pro Bowl. He had 7.5 sacks. His impact is so much greater. Like Jermaine Johnson's a massive loss. This is probably I think he made the NFL top 100 list. I think he was 70. I don't know what it is. Okay. Jermaine Johnson's one of the 50 best players in football. Like he's that good. Reddick, I don't think they gotta play him mainly. Will McDonald, a guy they really wanted to lineman. They drafted him as a consolation prize, having a lot of sacks. Not really solid against the run. I have no idea why the defensive tackles aren't getting the job done. This is a bad defense. Rodgers is, they can say that he's a leader. They can give him the captain patch. They can do all that crap. He's not helping. I fully expect the Jets to just kind of clean house, and if they're smart, they the guy I personally know how teams work. They usually, like, if they have a defensive-minded coach, they want to bring in an offensive-minded coach. I would really strongly consider Vrabel if he goes there. You need to get a good head coach, and they've been going after these coordinators and guys that have not coached before, and then they try to put a veteran team around a coach who's never coached before, and it doesn't really work. You need to get a veteran coach, somebody who knows what he's doing, and I think Vrabel would be a perfect fit. Belichick, there's no way he's going to coach there. I'll be honest with you. I haven't heard anything of this whatsoever. It wouldn't surprise me if you hear like Nick Saban rumors in Dallas or around in the NFL. Maybe he comes in just for a couple of years. You got to get big name with the Jets. You got to get the right coach. You got to get somebody. By the way, follow me on Instagram. There's an issue with Instagram. Not sure what's going on, but anyway, Instagram's just going in and out, so I'm just removing the stream. I don't feel like messing with it. Yeah, I mean, you could blame Rodgers. I would look towards defense first. If for some weird reason you get Rodgers to come back, which I wouldn't even recommend. I wouldn't even recommend Rodgers coming back next year if I was the Jets organization. I'd just be like, get the hell out of here and kind of go forward. Packers don't miss him. So 12-team non-PPR Superflex, 2 quarterbacks. I got Lamar Jackson, Breece Hall, Kareem Hunt, Josh Downs, Drake London, Ferguson, Mixon, T. Law, benches Aguilar, Derek Carr, D. Hop, Justice Hill, Mason, Jerry Jeudy, Thielen, Noah Brown. Help me win. I am 9. I don't think you need my help. You're 9-1. You don't need my help. That's actually not a bad idea. What can you get for him? Because Kareem Hunt solid, Joe Mixon solid, Aguilar if Robinson goes down is solid. Justice Hill may be getting some more touches. Mason, you may just want to drop. See what you can get for him. Just don't throw him away. Noah Brown, Jerry Jeudy, Thielen. Those guys really aren't going to do much, but that would be kind of my. Well, let me ask you this here. You're thinking about selling Hall. what are you going to get? Because, you have two good. So in a Superflex league, the way I understand it, you can use a quarterback. I mean, normally I would tell you Trevor Lawrence. You have a tough matchup against Detroit. However, if Detroit puts up like 40 points, Trevor Lawrence could do something. I don't know if he's coming back or not. Derek Carr's playing against a tough Browns defense, but could still put up some points. I mean, you got Hunt and Mixon, which are solid. London had a good game. Hopkins is getting you solid production, but I would still go with Josh Downs. So, what can you get for Hall? Let me ask you this here: what you want to do in a situation like this is Breece Hall still has some value. You don't have any legitimate starters, so like if you are going to trade him, I'd like for you to get somebody who at least has a starter caliber effect. Maybe somebody like Brian Robinson. You probably can't do J.K. Dobbins, but you could ask for it. I'm not sure, but yeah, I don't think that's a bad idea. It's just what can you get for them. So that would be kind of my thought process. But I mean, you're 9-1. You're doing a great job. I mean, you got the MVP of the league. Kareem Hunt's doing you solid. London's doing you solid. Ferguson, I think, could still be solid. Mixon, solid. Your super flex is going to be interesting because you want to go Carr against a tough Browns defense, or do you want to go against? Or are you going to Trevor Lawrence coming back off an injury against a really good Lions team? Positive is that this could be a shootout, and then you could get some points. But Ingram for James Conner. I have Kelsey as my starting tight end. You get Conner. I kind of like it. I think Ingram could have more production for the rest of the year than Kelsey, but I'll be honest with you, I don't know. But I mean, you're going to get solid production out of Kelsey. And with Conner, you're getting somebody who's going to be wildly productive. Now, keep in mind, Arizona does have a bye this week. So, I mean, he's not going to play. So, I mean, if you're in a situation where you need a running back now, don't make the move. But if you can deal with Conner being on the bench. By the way, Trey Benson did get some more touches, but Conner's still the number one guy. He's playing really well. Look, you're giving up somebody who you have to guess if he's going to have more production than Kelsey or not. So you're going to get steady production out of Kelsey. So I would make that move. Austin agrees with me. Boy, that's a tough one, man. Orion Canyon, that is a real tough one. I need to play one next week between Odunze, Javonte Williams, Tolbert, and Brooks. So the problem is with Brooks is that I don't even know if he's going to play, and Chuba Hubbard's been playing out of his mind. Carolina's on a bye, so let's throw Brooks out. With Javonte Williams, they were using Estimine more than Williams, so I'm not sure exactly the logic behind that. Fun game, by the way. Atlanta at Denver is going to be a really good game, but when you're being phased out, that bothers me. I have no idea. Odunze looks like he's the guy that Caleb Williams likes to go to. You're at home. Tolbert, I'm leaning towards, but I'm going to level with you. I have no idea what he did last week. Let's just take a look at the numbers. I mean, did he get skunked? 3 receptions, 14 yards, and 5 targets. The week before that, he had a touchdown, 3 for 19. The week before that, 3 for 44. So targets are 3, 6, and 5. Now, keep in mind, there is a reason why Dallas traded for a receiver. There's a reason why they traded for Jonathan Mingo. According to ESPN, which is not the best source, Cooper Rush is going to be the starter, but you really don't know. Okay. This is just you're really in a bad situation here. Oduze, talent-wise, potential-wise, is your best bet. I know Caleb Williams has looked bad. Patriots actually have a better defense than the Packers, and you're also at home too, which could have an effect. I would lean towards Oduze, but this is not, there's no really good answer here. I would really lean towards Oduze. Caleb Williams likes him. He's not going to be under as much pressure as he was last week with the Patriots. Ideally, they fix some things. If Tyson Bagent comes in, I think the offense will be significantly better. And don't be surprised if Bagent either comes in off the bench or they make a decision towards the middle of the week to go with Oduze. I wish I could tell you Javonte Williams because I really love the dude, but I watched the game. I was doing play-by-play. They like Estamine better, and Estamine looks fresher. I mean, maybe it's because he hasn't played. I don't know the answer, but Williams didn't play much. Normally, I would always go 3 down back. Tolbert on Monday night's always fun. Whoever's playing quarterback for Dallas will be playing better, but you don't make a trade for a receiver when you already have one that you like. That's my logic behind Tolbert. So I would go with Oduze. You have the most potential to make something happen. By the way, with Oduze, you never know what you're going to get. I mean, I'm going to read off the numbers here for you, but with Oduze, you never really know what you're going to get. But he's been playing a lot. So 3 catches, 23 yards, but he had 6 targets. Last week, 5 for 104, but he had 7 targets. Week before against Washington, 3 receptions, 41 yards, but he had 6 targets. The Jacksonville game, 2 for 40, caught both of his targets. Before that, the huge win against Carolina, 5 for 40. I know he has a touchdown, doesn't he? Only one. So he's not getting in the end zone, but he should. He also has 2 100-yard games. But if you look at the last 3 weeks, which I like to do, now they are 3 losses, but 6 targets, 7 targets, 6 targets, and 3, 5, and 3. So, I mean, he's catching a high percentage of the times he's been targeted. 23, 104, and 41. There's some potential there. I would go with Oduze, but I mean, these are all just terrible options, Orion. I'm not trying to belittle your situation because I'm going to do everything I can to help you win. These are all bad options. I would lean towards Oduze personally, but I mean, you could roll, keep my Brooks in on play. So no good tight end replacements. Juwan Jennings, Panthers tight end. Which Panthers tight end can you grab? I remember they have the guy from Notre Dame who I absolutely loved coming out of college. It's actually funny he wasn't as good as Mayer. Nope, never mind. Panthers and Giants are on buys. So Juwan Jennings actually has some athleticism. You're in a tough spot because you're talking about Juwan Johnson, right? What did he do last week? 2 for 22, Nothing. He hasn't had a touchdown in a long time. God, it's yeah, you're kind of in a tough spot though. I mean, keep in mind Cleveland has a fantastic defense, but Juwan Jennings' ability. I mean, that's the only one. I mean, if you need one for this week, for the rest of the year, I would actually lean toward either one. You're Sanders. That's what it was. The fourth round pick out of Texas, guy I absolutely love. But yeah, for this year, Juwan Jennings. I mean, for this week, I'm sorry, Juwan Jennings. Yeah, I agree. I would only start him if Trevor Lawrence is coming back. I was going to go back and watch that game because. So I was going to go back and watch that game because it looked like Carolina was, or I'm sorry, Jacksonville was going to win that game, and it looked like Jacksonville was going to win that game. So I was like, man, I'm going to go back and watch this. Even I know maybe Mac Jones is just game manager and. He's taking some hits and blah, blah, blah. And then I saw Minnesota won. I'm like, yeah, I don't think I really need to see that. Darnold threw 3 picks, just didn't have a good game. There's a reason why Sam Darnold's on his 4th team in 5 years or something like that. Yeah, he had a bad game. It happens. Yeah. Yeah, you are in a tough spot. Yeah, I didn't watch it, but it doesn't look like he really did anything. Yeah, Trevor Lawrence didn't look well at all. There was a lot of things. There's a lot of things wrong with the Jaguars. I mean, Doug Peterson's. I actually, to tell you the truth, I really think that there's a good chance Doug Peterson's going to get fired coming in the upcoming weeks. They have a bye week 12, so they play Cleveland week 11, which is this coming week. I think Peterson's fired right after the Browns game, unless they win. But I'm sorry. I am so sorry. I'm looking at the Saints schedule. I apologize, everybody. I was looking at the wrong team. Sorry, hit the wrong button. Yeah, they have a week 12 bye. Yeah. So here's the drill. You're playing at Detroit. Let's be honest. They're not going to beat the Lions. But if they do, then they're gonna lose this game. They're gonna be 2-9, and Peterson's gonna be fired. All right, Doug Peterson's gonna be fired right after the Lions. Let's be honest, it's gonna be a loss. So after that, then they need to figure out some things. It's going to be a long off season for Jacksonville, team that I can tell you had some higher expectations than 2 wins. They were thinking playoffs. Victor Blanco, what's up, my brother? I got James Cook, offered Josh Jacobs and Kyle Pitts. I have Mike Gesicki, K9, J.K. Dobbins. Okay. Let me make sure I have the trade down. You got Cook and you get Jacobs and Pitts, correct? If you get offered Jacobs and Pitts, it's not bad. Don't get me wrong, but I mean, here's the problem: is Gesicki's actually been playing well. Kyle Pitts, for whatever reason, I by the way, full disclosure. Okay, yeah. All right, good. Full disclosure, I am a huge Kyle Pitts fan, massive Kyle Pitts fan. I've been watching him since he was freshman at Florida. I think the world of him. I have kind of a sour taste of Gesicki because I watched him play at Penn State. He played with Saquon Barkley, and some clown was trying to. I just instantly blocked him. He was saying Gesicki's the only athlete on Penn State's team because he was trying to trash Saquon Barkley by, is that passive aggressive beta thing. So I just like, I'm not going to listen to this. I watched Gesicki play, and at the combine he ran like a 4.51 or a 4.53. But I watched Gesicki play. I'm like, that's a 4.8 player, not a 4.5 player. I watched him play several times. But he's been playing good. So, like, normally when I love a player in college, I like him more in the NFL. That's my long-winded explanation. And Josh Jacobs, same thing. Look, you're not going to start Jacobs over Dobbins or Kenneth Walker, are you? I mean, listen, if you are, you might want to consider it. But Gesicki is probably going to give you the same production as Pitts. Jacobs is not really better than Dobbins or Kenneth Murray, is he? If you think so, make the move. But I'm looking at you giving up a number one running back and you getting a tight end that you may or may not use if you want to, put a tight end in there. I'll be honest with you, I wouldn't. I would stick with Gesicki. As much as I love Kyle Pitts, I would just stick with Gesicki. The reason, why? Joe Burrow throws the ball a lot. That's their offense right now, is a lot of passing. Okay, same thing with Atlanta, but let's do this real fast here, and I apologize. I'm going to answer everybody's question. I'm not leaving until I answer every single question. But let's just take a look at Gesicki's numbers, because I know Joe Burrow threw for over 400, 4 receptions, 30 yards, not a great game, but he did have 9 targets. Pay attention to that. Last week against Raiders, 5 for 100, 2 touchdowns, 6 targets. The week before that, 7 receptions, 73 yards, 8 targets. So look at the last 3 weeks: 7 for 73, 5 for 100, 2 scores, 4 for 30. Not his best, but over the last 3 weeks, you have an NFL tight end that has over 200 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 16 catches. That's pretty solid, man. I mean, could Pitts has more upside. Let's be very clear. Pitts has more upside than any tight end in the National Football League, period. Do they use him? Well, let's take a look here. Is his production gone up? I honestly didn't watch Falcons Saints, even though I love that rivalry, one of my favorite rivalries in all of football. But 4 receptions, 55 yards. Okay. The week before that, 1 catch for 11 yards, targeted 1 time. Against Tampa 3 weeks ago, 5 targets, 4 receptions, 91 yards, 2 touchdowns. So the last 3 weeks, Gesicki has been more productive than Pitts. He's getting consistently more targets. He has more production. You're not going to use him, right? Now, Cook is a 3-down back. Tough matchup against Kansas City. But I just, full disclosure, though, James Cook last year against Kansas City at Arrowhead during the regular season just had a phenomenal game. Last week against Miami, 80 yards on the ground, 19 carries. That's a touchdown. Only 1 catch for 5 yards. But I'm a level with you, as much as I hate to say it. He had a fantastic game against Kansas City, which nobody liked. I'm just a little facetious there, but look, I wouldn't make this trade, even though I like the 2-for-1 option. Look, you're getting a guy. You're giving up your number 1 running back. You're getting a solid look value wise. you're not losing on this, but you're not really using any of these guys. I would go with Gesicki, James Cook, keep your number one. I like Dobbins, and I like Kenneth Murray just as much as I like Jacobs. So I would strongly recommend not making this trade. Victor, let's just say you want to make this trade. I would rather you listen. I would rather you not listen to me. Let me get my own catchphrase right. I'd rather you not listen to me and win than listen to me and lose. I will always do that, but I would really strongly suggest that you not make this trade. Keep your number one running back, stick with Gesicki, and Kenneth Murray or Dobbins will be your guys. Because you're not going to get as much production out of Jacobs as you are with Cooks. So keep what you got, brother. That would be my recommendation. But again, if you decide to make the trade, let me know, and I'm always pulling for you, brother. Please pick one defense week 11. All right, let's break them all down. We got Miami against the Raiders. West Coast team traveling to Miami on the early game. It's tough. Raiders are just terrible right now. Miami doesn't have a good defense. They're playing on Monday night tonight. Pay attention to that because you got some injuries. Same thing with the Rams. Pay attention to some injuries that may or may not occur. They're playing at New England. Same thing. West Coast team travel on the East Coast. Remember, Miami plays on Monday night. Drake May is making some plays, also making mistakes, raw as hell. Two good opportunities there. Green Bay at Chicago's interesting because Caleb Williams full meltdown. But you're at home. Out of these three, right now, today, which I could easily change my mind after what I see on Monday night, because I'm actually geeked out to see Rams in Miami, because if Miami wins, they even, this is going to sound absolutely bonkers, but Miami, believe it or not, even though right now Miami is a 2-win team, they're 2-6. All right. If Miami gets the 3-6, they are right back in that wild card race. I know that sounds insane, but they are. The Rams win this game, they are right back in it also because they're 5-4, but they're also in a race with the Cardinals to win that division. So I'm kind of geeked out about this game. There's so many damn commercials on ESPN. It's driving me nuts. It like bounces around. Anyway, listen, I'm leaning towards the Rams today. I want to see what happens. Keep in mind, they are traveling to New England, and it's an early game. They have an extra one less day of preparation. So, and hey, Jeff, another thing is that, I mean, you're playing against a really good defense in Minnesota. I have no idea what Jacksonville's going to do going forward, but after the Lions game, unless something really, really, really bizarre happens, you're probably looking at Peterson getting fired, and then some tough decisions you have to make for your Jacksonville Jaguars. And if you have the number one pick in the draft, what do you want to do? I mean, the way I understand Trevor Lawrence's contract, and I could be wrong, you can't really trade the guy. And there is enough about Trevor Lawrence to say, like, hey, look, we got our quarterback. I mean, if I'm Jacksonville, I would, if I had number one pick in the draft, I would stick with the quarterback position, Mac Jones as well. If if you can keep him, I think the way the contract's set up is that you could still keep both Mac Jones and Trevor Lawrence for next year. Trade the number one pick. The Giants are at number 2. That's easily a flip flop right there, unless the Raiders want to give you an arm and a leg if they really love Shadir Sanders. Which there's been a lot of talk about Shadir Sanders in Vegas, but I think Shadir Sanders with the Giants makes a lot more sense. But we'll see what happens come draft time. But we'll see, because I have no idea who's starting against Detroit. But I'll be doing, depending on my work schedule, which I actually don't know at this point. If I'm available, I'll be doing play-by-play for Bills Chiefs. I won't be able to watch the whole game, but I'll probably check out a little bit of the red zone and keep an eye on highlights. So we'll see. Leo, what's up, brother? The coffee is hot, but very good. Leo says, I'm in a 8-man league here. I got Kenneth Walker, Saquon, Gibbs at running back, Kupp, Collins, DK, Metcalf at receiver. I want to start 3 running backs and want Derrick Henry. So I send K Walker and DK for Henry. All right. So, so first of all, starting 3 running backs, smart. Let me just throw this out there. Number one, you say you want Derrick Henry, so you're hoping that the guy's going to take Kenneth Walker and DK Metcalf for Derrick Henry. I'm assuming you came up with this because the guy that has Derrick Henry is a Seahawks fan. If he goes for that, which I'll be honest with you, just off the top of my head, I mean, unless he's a Seahawks fan, he probably is going to say no to that trade offer. But let's say you did do it. You got Saquon and Henry, 2 number ones. Gibbs is solid. So you're going to get production every week out of Gibbs. The issue that you would have is that I have no idea when Collins is coming back, and also your value with Cooper Kupp. You're in an 8-man league, so you're doing 2 running backs, 2 receivers, and a flex. Great. You're going to be without a player, though. I want to say Houston has a bye coming up soon. Yeah, they have a bye week 14, so that's something you got to consider. Do you have? I mean, I'm assuming you have another receiver, because the way you got it now is that you have 3. I mean, I'm assuming you do, but I don't know. Because are you trying to have an open roster spot, or you're just hoping for a receiver? Because week 14 more than likely is a playoff week for you. Do you have another player? That's just throwing that out. Just right off the top of my head, I know the Rams just had a bye, so you don't have to worry about that. The running backs, off the top of my head, I don't know who. Philly just had a bye, didn't they? So I want to make sure that you're aware of that, because I don't want you to make a trade and then, hey, guess what? I have to find a starter last second. All right. So some things to consider. DK Metcalf, even though he's been banged up, has been wildly productive. This is like the first time watching the Seahawks that I'm like, okay, DK Metcalf's the wide receiver number 1. Kenneth Walker, when he's healthy, is really, really good. Derrick Henry's production is going to dip. All right. One, Baltimore wants to keep them fresh for the playoffs. Number two, the schedule gets really, really brutal over the next several weeks. I mean, I want you to consider this. At Pittsburgh, at LA Chargers, Philly, another week 14 bye, so Baltimore hasn't had their bye yet. Okay, at the Giants, bad team, good front seven. Pittsburgh, at Houston, Cleveland, final week of the season. So hypothetically, let's say you can make this trade happen. You want to go with Saquon, Gibbs, Derrick Henry. Great. You have a receiver because right now DK Metcalf is your number one. Hopefully, Kupp can continue with the improved production. Nico Collins comes back. You're not in bad shape, but I mean, I'm on a level with you. Number one, I don't think you can make this trade happen because you said you want. So I'm assuming that you're spitballing. If I'm wrong and somebody offered you this, I'm still not 100% sure I would take it. If I'm being really honest with you, you got 3 down back with home run speed. You got a legitimate number one receiver. I mean, you're giving away out of your receivers, Kupp, Collins, and DK. DK is your best one right now today. Collins is going to come back. Sure, that's great. Ideally, he comes back and he's the same guy. I don't know if you've been watching Houston lately, but that offensive line's not good. They lean on Joe Mixon quite a bit. Pay attention to Cooper Kupp is on Monday night. Is he the same guy? Because it looks like Nakuda is the number one guy with the Rams, and Kupp's option number 2 now. I mean, you're giving away. I mean, you're starting 3 running backs. You're giving away your best receiver and a starting running back for a running back whose production is going to dip a little bit. You're also, I mean, so I don't know. I'm not recognizing you, so I'm assuming you're new. Please hit the subscribe button. So here's the drill. If you can get this trade, I'm not against it. I'm just not really on board for it. And I know it's a wishy-washy answer, but I mean, if I was you, I honestly wouldn't make this move. If you want Derrick Henry and you can make this trade happen, I'm not going against you at all. I'm wishing you the best of luck. You need to have another receiver ready to roll. If you don't, you could be setting yourself up for failure because I'm going to level with you. Derrick Henry's next couple of weeks, that production's not going to be there. He's not going to be the same guy he was at the beginning of the year. I mean, I got Baltimore scheduled last week against Tennessee, 68 yards. I mean, he's not going to do the 132 to 169, 73 against the Browns, 106. I mean, he's not going to be there. It's just not going to be there. I mean, that production earlier in the season, I mean, weeks 3 through 7, I mean, 151, 199, 92, 132, 169. But look at the last 3 weeks, 73, 106, and 68. You got somebody, look, Kenneth Walker was banged up. You can never bank on him being healthy, but when he plays, the production's going to be there, man. I would really, and DK Metcalf is been wildly productive, though he's been banged up. I mean, if you make this trade, I'm gonna be like, all right, good, let's go. You got a third receiver. If you don't have a third receiver, do not make this move. And again, the production for Derrick Henry's been dropping. Whoever who's making this trade is probably thinking to himself, they're selling high and you're buying low. But I mean, the way that your team's set up right now, I mean, you're starting Walker, Gibbs, and Saquon, you should be in good shape. Let me know, man. Let me know what you do. I would advise against it. But if you make this move, hey, you got your wide receiver number 3, who needs to be your wide receiver number 1. And by the way, we do not know if Collins is playing on Monday night. He is. I have to find out. So. I would not call you a bandwagon fan if you're saying next year you're an Eagles fan. After that, you're a Niners fan. I would if you're new, you're just new. That's a much better response than what I had. As usually, Funk says what I say, just better. Yeah, I mean that's probably a much better response than what I was said. Yeah, I mean I would call you a bandwagon fan, but I don't think that's a bad thing because you're new. Funk says no, you're new, you're new. He's calling me a dick, but yeah, I kind of am. But yeah, Funk saying you're new, it doesn't count. And by the way, Funk's a long-time hardcore Lions fan. He's 1,000% not somebody just jumping on Lions bandwagon. I know this because I know Funk was a Lions fan when they were 0-10-1, trying to win number 1. Yeah, I mean, he threw 3 in the first half. I know one was a bad one, and the Hail Mary doesn't count. And one was deflected, but I'm going to butcher the name, so I apologize. Tamian Baskarov. TB! All right. Should we be worried about J.K. Dobbins losing touches with Gus Bus back? Is Breece Hall going to be good the second half of the season? Is Chase Brown going to struggle with the second half of the season schedule? So with Breece Hall, it's kind of unknown. Let me go in order. I apologize. Dobbins is going to lose a few touches, but I still think Dobbins is going to be the main guy. He's had some tough matchups the last couple of weeks, but let's take a look at the Chargers. They're 6-3 right now. I mean, the issue is that they have some. Quietly, the Chargers won 4 out of 5 in their last 3 straight. And by the way, that loss on Monday night against Arizona is not nearly as bad as it looked at the time. But let's take a look at some of these matchups here. I mean, Cincinnati and Baltimore both at home, at Atlanta and Kansas City, tough. I mean, the schedule's tough, but I personally he is going to lose a few, but I've been saying this, and I know I sound like I'm on crack, but I really think if Dobbins stays healthy and plays all 17, there's still a good chance he could lead the NFL in rushing. I do think that because I know Haskins scored on a touchdown last week against Titans. So while he is going to lose touches, I still think that his big play potential and the fact that he's a big dude is going to be enough to overcome not starting him. I need to know more about your lineup, but the answer to your question should we be worried about it? He is going to lose touches. I would not be worried about it. I would still play him. Okay. Is he going to have another, 30 touch performance the rest of the year? Maybe not, because Haskins is getting a few touches. Gus Bradley's also going to get a few touches, but Dobbins is still the number 1 dude, and he's still going to be pretty productive. You got some tough matchups. So, okay, Breece Hall. I really thought that if the Jets got a win here against Arizona, they could start doing some things because they would be 4-6. And look at these next 4 games: home against the Colts, bye; home against the Seahawks, at Miami, at Jacksonville. They realistically could go 4-0. I personally think Breece Hall is going to be good in these next 4 games. All right. Week 12 bye. Look, the Colts have a bad defense. I'm not sold on Seattle's defense fresh off of a bye. I kind of like Breece Hall. Also kind of like if the Jets win this game and they can get in their head that, hey, listen, we can go on a roll and, maybe we go 9-8 and sneak in as the last spot. It'd be a great story. These next 4 games are very, very winnable. Now, Breece Hall's last couple of weeks, he hasn't been very productive. But these are tough defenses. I mean, I'm looking at Pittsburgh, New England, Houston, Arizona. These are 4 tough defenses. Indianapolis, Seattle, Miami, Jacksonville are not. Breece Hall is going to be a guy. So TB, I'm gonna level with you. I'm a huge Breece Hall guy. So that's kind of my thought process. But I mean, I really, really like Breece Hall for the last 4 weeks. After, what's he going to do week 16, 17, and 18? I don't know if you have to worry about that or not. I don't know how your playoffs are going to work. If your playoffs start week 12, I mean, keep in mind he's got bye, but if they start week 14, 14 and 15 is going to be solid. Week 16 is a home game against the Rams. That could be an issue, but we'll get to it there. But next 4 games, though, Breece Hall should have 4 fantastic games. Is Chase Brown going to struggle? Let's take a look at the Bengals' schedule. I do think that there is a good chance that he could. I know the Bengals brought in Leonard Fournette, and Brown hasn't been good in pass protection. And let's face it, Joe Burrow is the face of the franchise. You also have some tough matchups at LA home. You have a bye week 12. Pittsburgh at Dallas on Monday night could be a very interesting game. At Tennessee, Cleveland, Denver, tough matchups. I've never been high on Chase Brown, to be honest with you. I really thought they should have gone more with. I really thought Zach Moss would get. He's a better pass protector, but he's going to be out. But it does bother me, though, when you bring in another running back because you're worried about pass protection. And Leonard Fournette's a big dude who's got a world of potential even at this point in his career. I would definitely say Chase Brown's going to struggle. So let's take a look at your second comment. You have Chase and JK. I'm move off of them, to be honest. I don't blame you. All right. Mix in Kamara, JK, Chase, and B-Rob. Oh, okay. Mixon is going to have some value. Kamara's going to have some value. Brian Robinson, I really, really like. They don't really use him much in the passing game. But I like what your thought process is. So what I would be thinking is that you're trying to make a move with Dobbins and Chase. Now you would be doing what I call selling low. But I'll be honest with you. I mean, Mixon and Kamara are your 1 and 2, and then this JK, even if he does lead the NFL in rushing, he doesn't catch the ball a lot. And also, you also always have to worry about an injury issue. So JK and Chase, here's your situation is that you would be selling low, but you have starters with Mixon and Kamara. B-Rob's your number 3. So depending on what you have in the rest of your roster, okay, some of your comments here, you have some other comments here. What can you get? All right. Okay, Brian Thomas Jr. Okay, so you got a receiver. Okay, this is solid. The guy has no wide receivers. He has Ridley and Worthy. I could also send a tight end as he has none. I have Hawkinson, Pitts, and holy shit. Great job. Okay. Send him Pitts. You have a receiver. So I like I like your thought process, and also like that you have some value in tight ends. You got two really good ones. Let me see here. So you want Derrick Henry. Hmm. Okay, so he has no wide receivers. So you're sending him D. Okay. Can I spitball this to you? Can you send him Metcalf and Pitts for Derrick Henry, and then keep your running backs, and then in your situation, then you would have four stud running backs, and you're kind of set. You could make a move for another receiver if you wanted to. But you got Brian Thomas. Okay, so you're set at receivers. So that's what I was worried about. So you have receivers, so you can move DK Metcalf. Um, so I like your thought process. I would try to keep Kenneth Walker if you can. I like to trade a little more because you got a guy in Brian Thomas Jr. who you can play. But look, the guy doesn't have a receiver, so he's probably in panic mode because he watched Xavier Worthy last week. I think he had one touch. He's watching Ridley struggle all year, so you can get him a big name in DK Metcalf. Um, is he doesn't have a tight end, he'll love the idea of getting Pitts. If he asks for Kraft or Hawkinson, great, you can make that move. Um, Look, I don't know the thought process um, about your league. I don't know how. Some leagues people make trades all the time. Sometimes some leagues people hate to trade. Um, you I've talked about this in other videos. I had a guy who every single week would send all these stupid trades. So every time his name came up, I would just hit delete. And we worked together. So on the work I am, he's like, "Why'd you delete my message?" I was like, "Always delete your trades." He's like, "No, this one's a real one." But he sent me like, hey, like, let's just say I had Lamar Jackson. You'd be like, "Hey, trade me Lamar Jackson for, um, I don't know, Trey Lance or something like that." And he would do that to everybody. He just thought it was funny. Um, so when he had a for real trade, I just ignored him. I don't know if you're that guy or not, but when going for trades, I always suggest you win, and I always suggest you maximize your value. And I always suggest that if you have an open dialogue, that you always try to offer a little less. Um, that's my thought process. So if you do make this trade, he doesn't have a tight end. I would start off like this. Hey, I see you don't have a tight end. I got Pitts. With Hawkinson coming back, I'd be willing to let him go. Also, I'll let go of DK Metcalf, but I want Derrick Henry. He may go for that. That's what I would do. I would keep your running backs because you say you want to start three, have four, and then you have another one that's available. Maybe you can make another move. That's what I would recommend doing. You got Brian Thomas Jr., so you got a legitimate number one. You got receivers. That's what I was worried about. So um, I would keep Kenneth Walker. I would send him DK and Pitts. See what he says. If you make this work, now you got four running backs and you're in prime shape for the playoffs. Ideally, Nico Collins comes back, and then you may be in a good shape, or you got Kupp, Collins, and Brian Thomas Jr., three number one receivers. From there, you can just stay put, or you can do a variety of different things. So, Miguel, Hey, Dan, I have Reek in my startup. If he doesn't play, what's my waiver options? 2-2 OBJ, winning him D-Rob. For tonight, your waiver options are really, really tough, man. I mean, the big name would be OBJ, but I'll be honest with you. I think Tutu may have a better game. But I mean, you're kind of in bad shape if you're doing it right now. I'll be honest with you. If it was me, and if Tyreek isn't playing tonight, which I think he will, let's take a look. Let's take a look real fast. So OBJ's a bigger name. I wouldn't blame you if you did that. I think Atwell's going to have the bigger game. All right. Hopefully that made sense. Let's just take a look. Now, keep in mind again, ESPN, not the best move. Oh no, Jackson's on IR. That's Austin Jackson, starting offensive lineman. So that's going to be a problem. Game time decision for Tyreek Hill. Okay. God is the tough one. All right, Miguel. I'm a big Demarcus Robinson fan. Fun fact, Demarcus Robinson and Tyreek Hill were the 4th and 5th round draft picks of the Kansas City Chiefs. Demarcus Robinson was 4, Tyreek Hill was 5. I was more excited about Demarcus Robinson. Demarcus Robinson's always had these flashes. Really like the kid. But I'm going to level with you. You're in a bad spot no matter what. The name that I would go for, and by the way, it's like throwing darts here. I'm just guessing. Out of 2-2, Winnington and Demarcus Robinson, per ESPN, Robinson's getting the start. That said, I know he doesn't have a touchdown all year, but I just no logic behind this at all, because the last 2 games he's had 5 targets and 2 receptions. Demarcus Robinson's done significantly better. And Demarcus Robinson is a starter, a guy that I like. I mean, last 3 weeks, 4 touchdowns last 2 games. 9 targets last week against Seattle. I mean, 4 touchdowns the last 2 weeks. Okay, so I'm gonna throw some weirdness at you. Look, Demarcus Robinson has 5 touchdowns for the year, 4 in the last 2 weeks. Do you want to ride the wave and Demarcus Robinson lives up to all that potential he had coming out of Florida? There's a reason why he's been on 4 or 5 different teams. Okay, just a weird hunch. 2-2 is going to have a big game Monday night. Just weird. No logic here. Okay. If you want to go with OBJ, veteran, Monday night, wouldn't blame you. I have no idea which one of these guys are available. I'm assuming all 4 of these guys are available. You're really just guessing. My guess would be 2-2. I'm going to be honest with you, though. Look, it's Monday Night Football, man. All right. I mean, it's Monday Night Football. Players love it. I mean, they really do. I mean, even if you're not 100%. Look, I know Tyreek Hill's just been terrible this year, but I mean, he was pretty excited with Tua. I mean, these are 3 tough losses. I mean, 6 points, 1 point, 3 points. I mean, I do think he's going to play. All right. I really do. If you do have to pick one of these, just a gut My logic would tell me Robinson because I like to follow trends. OBJ is the biggest name, most upside, primetime game, and opportunity for him to get his name out there. Would not blame me if you want OBJ. I got a weird feeling this would be the game Tutu Atwell. Like, just kind of, I have no logic behind it either. If you're trading away a wide receiver like DK Tillman available, I doubt he's available, but yeah, that's smart. That's smart thinking. If he is available in your league, grab him as well. That's smart. Call me TB12. Oh, I love it. That TB12. I like it. TB12 it is. Not okay. So I'm a little behind on comments here, but I love Billy. Oh God, okay. Now I want to talk Billy Sims. Now I want to talk Billy Sims. All right. Now you got me wanting to talk Billy Sims, Funk. All right. Chicken Wing, which of my wide receivers should I try to trade off? Metcalf, Evans, Higgins, Waddle, J-Mo, Juwan Jennings, Tillman, need a running back badly. Okay. My recommendation is you when you want to make a trade, everybody's a little different, okay? What you want to target is I don't know your league. If I had a Seattle fan, I'm trading Metcalf. If I'm trading with maybe an Alabama fan or Lions fan, I'm targeting J-Mo. Maybe you got a Browns fan who, by the way, I wouldn't recommend Tillman, but Tillman, you want to maximize your trade value anytime you make a trade. You want to go after a player that needs number one. So look, you got a whole slew of players that you can trade. You have some good options. All right, maximize your trade value. All right. So in this situation, I wouldn't be able to tell you. Now, my recommendation would be that the player that has the most value and it's the biggest name and you can get the most for would be DK Metcalf because he's having a good year. He's a huge name. You can get the most for him. And I think Tillman could be just as productive. With Waddle, you have no idea. Higgins, really up and down. Again, maybe it's a Bengals fan. I don't know. Not sure when Evans is coming back. J-Mo kind of up and down. Laporta got banged up in that game. If he's out, J-Mo's value may be a little higher. But I would looking at the targets. You need a running back badly. Get a good one. Which one of these guys needs a receiver? Which one of these guys is a fan of which team? Which one is most likely to make a trade? I recommended earlier. I recommended earlier. To somebody that. Are you the guy that makes all these stupid trades that people don't want to trade with? I don't know if you're that guy. If you're the guy that tries to do people right. Now, when I say try to do people right, like don't send them stupid trades, but try to win the trade. I mean, that's just bargaining 101. I mean, the guy I'm targeting would be DK Metcalf. He's the biggest name, all right, has the most value. I'm holding on to Tillman because I think he's going to get you the most points. You also have some options here with Higgins, Waddle, and J-Mo, some sleeper starters. Evans, big name when he comes back. I don't know. That might be another name that you want to, target. Again, you trade one of these guys, get a lot back in return. Don't just get a guy who can play. Get a good guy. You've got some good trade capital. You might need to package a deal depending on who you're going after. But I would look at Metcalf being a big name. You're most likely to get a good starter in return. I want to be very clear when I say this. I want you to get a good starter in return. If you're going to get rid of a wide receiver number one, get a running back number one in return. Again, if you're going to trade DK Metcalf, which one of these guys needs a receiver? Which one of these guys is a Seahawks fan? Which one of these guys do you have the best relationship with? Which one of these guys has a running back that you want? All these things, I keep in. For example, I got a buddy of mine. He's a Cowboys fan. He's like in 4 fantasy leagues. I know that if I have CD Lamb, I trade him to my buddy who's a Cowboys fan. I'm getting more out of him than I would from somebody who's, maybe a Giants fan or that's stacked at the wide receiver position. The guy I'm targeting you getting rid of is Metcalf. I want you to get a lot in return for him, though. Let me know what options you have or if you made a trade or whatever. I want to talk about Billy Sims so bad, Funk. I'm going to skip this because I could rant for about 15 minutes because I loved Billy Sims. God, why do you have to bring up Billy Sims, Funk? Now I'm behind, Funk. God, I love Funk. Who should I pick up off of waivers? Need another solid wide receiver. Juan Pena Jr. If you haven't already, man, hit that subscribe button. All right. Might trade DJ Moore. Still got Jay Jefferson, Jay Myers, Downs, Mooney on wire. Wendell Robinson, Dennis Scantlin, Pearsall, Atwell, Jennings, or Bateman. All right. Okay, so you may trade DJ Moore. The bad news is if you trade DJ Moore, you're selling low. All right. If you get MVS, Valdez, Scantling, MVS, he's always done this in his career where he has these big games, and then next week he gets 1 catch for 7 yards. Advise against it. Purcell is interesting. And I've always had a kind of a man crush on Bateman. I would okay, so look, you have a couple options here. I mean, DJ Moore, I don't blame you because you're loaded at receiver. I mean, Jefferson's probably, if not your number one, maybe number 2 in all fantasy football. I like Myers right now, and I also like Downs. You can move on from Mooney or DJ Moore, get a lot for your trade. We already talked about that. A guy that I would pick up personally would be Ricky Purcell. I would go after Purcell. First round draft pick. I love the story. Side note, I watched Deebo Samuel get into it with a teammate after the one of the missed field goals. Just a hunch. That's going to kind of resonate in the locker room. I got a feeling with McCaffrey coming back, the touches are going to go down. I actually was kind of surprised McCaffrey looked as good as he did. He had a great game, but he'll come back. So the value for Samuel is going to go down. I could see Pearsall quickly shifting into the number 1 guy. I might be reading too much into that push, but I would really take a look at Pearsall if he's available. I would avoid MVS because somebody's going to pick him up and think that they got gold. But trust me on this. He's done this for a long time. I'm happy for him. He was huge in the playoffs with Kansas City last year. Huge. So Trust me, he's not going to do it. Wendell Robinson's a guy that he's been getting some touches, but I'm leaning against. Jennings and Bateman are players I like. And I know I said Atwell could have a huge game tonight, but there's no logic behind that. Out of the guys that are on the waiver wire, snag Purcell. I got a feeling the production's just going to keep going up. On your team, he's probably not going to start, but the story's good. And out of these guys, trust me, in a week or two, have the most trade value, because what I'm looking at you doing is, if you move on from DJ Moore, you're going to add something to your team. So you're making a lot of trades, is what I'm guessing. Get a guy like Pearso, he's going to have a lot of trade value, because I'm looking at your receivers. He's probably not going to start, but if he does make the starting lineup, that's even better. But more than likely, you're trying to acquire players that you can trade down the line. You see what I'm getting at? Now, these guys, in a couple weeks, Pearsall is going to have the most trade value. Now, Scantling MVS blows up again, then his trade value is going to be even higher, which, by the way, it's fool's gold. I'm telling you right now, it's fool's gold. It is not going to last. He did this with Kansas City. He's done this when he was with Green Bay. He'd have these weeks because he's big, he's tall, he's got speed. He has these games where he has over 100 yards and a touchdown or two. You're like, oh, yeah, we got our guy. Next week, he has like 3 drops and 2 catches. So for you personally, grab Pearsall, because he'll be the highest trade value in a week or two, because you're pushing for the playoffs. Ideally, pushing for the playoffs, because what you're doing smart is that you're adding high, because you have some waiver wire options. I like the fact that you're trying to make some trades. You're selling low with DJ Moore. That's bad news. But because you got Jefferson, Myers, and Downs, you're in good shape. Also, Mooney could also be very solid. So let me know what you end up doing. But I'd recommend Pearsall, because in a couple weeks from now, you can sell high and get something valuable for your playoff push, which I don't know. I don't recognize the name, but I just got a hunch that you're in shape to make the playoffs. Just a hunch. Who should you keep, Mayfield or Darnold? Okay, so full disclosure, Mayfield has a bye this week, so obviously not this week. I would lean towards Mayfield going forward. Because I do think Evans is coming back. You got some other receivers that are doing some stuff. You also have three running backs, with that can all catch the ball halfway decently. They played well against San Francisco on the road. I think Tampa Bay may be a team that's kind of low-key dangerous. Keep in mind, the problem that you have, though, is that realistically, Tampa, unless the Falcons just implode, which by the way, the Falcons, if they lose against Denver and Atlanta's on a bye, because remember, they got swept by Atlanta, you could have an issue where, hey, look, Baker, you got some injuries. We're going to check out Kyle Trask, see if he has some value. You could have something goofy like that. But I like Mayfield slightly better going forward. Now, keep in mind, Minnesota plays at Tennessee, a team with a tough defense, but just a disaster of a team. Pay attention to how he does against Tennessee, because he threw 3 interceptions last week against a bad defense. Pay attention to how he plays. If you have to make a decision right now, for this week, you're playing Darnold. Mayfield's on a bye, unless you have somebody else. I don't know. But I would lean towards Mayfield. Pay attention to what Darnold does, though, this week. If he looks okay, definitely go with Mayfield, because you get Evans back. Atlanta loses at Denver this week. That's going to be a fun game, by the way. Then you're looking at Tampa Bay trying to sneak in the playoffs, and Baker could get really hot. He had a good game against a really good Niners defense. So I like Mayfield personally. Remember, he's on a bye this week. So Arturo, what is up, my brother? Should I trade Jamar for Neighbors and Pickens? First of all, I love what you're thinking. I had a guy who had his best performance of the year. I'm going to sell high. I'm selling for 2 starters. Smart move. I need a little more information. If you have a stud, because here's a drill with Neighbors and Pickens. Both these guys are low-end wide receivers, number ones. Jamar Chase is the best wide receiver in football. Okay? If you make this move, are you starting both? Because if you're only starting one, do not make this move. If you're trading Jamar, you're going to lose points. Now, you're going to lose points, but if you're starting both Neighbors and Pickens, make the move. If one of these guys is like, well, I got some depth, I'm not sure, don't do it. I need a little more information, but I love the thought process. I would be a lot happier if you made this trade and got a running back number one and a receiver number one. But let's just say you're stacked at running back. You're stacked at every other position. You have Jamar and you have, I don't know, maybe you had like Rashid Rice and the other 49ers receiver, Brandon Ayuk, who's out for the year. Maybe you got those guys and you've just been struggling and you're like, I need somebody else. That situation, I would say do it. If you're thinking about having another flex option, do not make this move because Jamar Chase is right now today the best receiver in football. He is putting up crazy numbers. He is fresh off of a bye. Cincinnati is going to play the Chargers on Sunday Night Football in a must-win game. In a must-win game, Burrow's going to be looking at Chase. Even though Chargers have good defense, it doesn't matter. He's still going to be productive. Need a little more information before I sign off on this, because if you have another, even if he's a low-end starting receiver, I would still take that guy instead of making this move, because you're giving up the best of the best for two really wide receiver number ones, but they're low-end wide receiver number ones. You feel me? Give me some more information. By the way, I'm here for another hour, but if you don't have enough information, email me. Follow me on social media. Both my links are below. Hit me up, because I like the idea of selling high. That's smart. Hey, Dan, homesick with COVID today. Well, Aiden, do not come near me. Should I panic about Lamb? Is there anyone I can trade on teams that would be able to risk them if they made the playoffs? Absolutely. I mean, I always say this, but what you want to do is that if you have somebody in your league that is a Cowboys fan, and by the way, I've seen you before, Aiden. So like, I'm pretty sure somebody who's a Cowboys fan. That would be the guy that you may want to look for. I do think you're going to hit this number, by the way. So here's your issue. Now here's the good news. Dallas is going to play at home on Monday night. You can hold on to CeeDee Lamb. And he could bounce back next week and have a big game. Should I panic about Lamb? The answer is no. I think that his value from being one of the top 3 receivers in fantasy football does drop. But is he somebody you should bench? Have to sell low? No, you don't have to do that at all. I'd hold on to him because I think there's a good chance he has a big game at home on Monday night. Very good chance. So hold on to him. I'm pretty sure you're getting 17.5 tonight. I'm pretty sure you're in a PPR league. So more than likely, if he gets a couple receptions, gets in the end zone, you're good. I'll be paying attention to this. I'm actually kind of geeked out about this game. So got you both ways. Jay Brooks, man, Tyrone Tracy or Bucky Irving. I love both players. I know he fumbled, lost the Giants the game, but Tyrone Tracy is the guy. Bucky Irvin's still getting touches with Rashad White. Rashad White's the bigger running back, but I would go with Tyrone Tracy. I know that fumble was devastating. Now let me ask you this: Is this just you are aware if you are aware both players are on bye? You're going. I'm assuming what you're doing is you're trying to get yourself set up for the playoffs. I'm also assuming you're in a PPR league. Go keep Tyrone Tracy. I think for the next couple of weeks he'll be a little more valuable. You. Here's the thing, though. I've said this a lot. I recognize you, so you've probably heard me say this. What's your favorite flavor? Is it chocolate or is it strawberry? There's not really a wrong answer. I think Tyrone Tracy has a little more value. I think Bucky Irving, they got that now. It's a three-headed monster. I do think Evans is going to come back. I think Irving's touches will dip ever so slightly, where I still think Tyrone Tracy is still solid, 15 to 20 almost every week. I think Bucky Irvin's still in that 10 to 15 range. We'll have to see what happens going forward, because both teams are on bye. What's going to happen next week, we don't know. But I think Tyrone Tracy's still going to remain the number one guy. Bucky Irvin's still going to be like kind of, kind of in the mix. Jose, what's up, brother? Hey, Dan, how's it going? I have a question at quarterback. I have Kirk Cousins, but on waivers, I see Russell Wilson, Matthew Stafford, Bo Nix. I need a rest of the season quarterback. Well, I mean, I'll be honest with you. I would. Okay, so out of those three, I would go with Stafford, but I would cross Wilson off the list. And I love the way Bo Nix is playing, but I would go with Stafford. Now, I want to be very clear about this. I'm not sure you really want to drop Cousins. But out of these three, I have no idea how Matthew Stafford. Listen, Stafford's value is sky high. I mean, look, you have both your receivers coming back. Your offensive line's getting healthy, and I think he's going to have a monster game. I would snag him now if you have a spot available, because I think he's going to have a huge game against the Dolphins. I think a massive game. So I would strongly recommend Stafford. I would go in this order: Stafford, Nix, and Russell Wilson. But how are these guys available on the waiver wire? I have no clue. Maybe you're in an 8-man league or something. I don't know. But grab Stafford, because I think he's going to have a huge game tonight. And best case scenario, you can trade one of these guys. I don't know if I'd drop Cousins for Stafford. I might. I'd like Stafford a little more. But listen, the Rams' offensive line's getting healthy. Their 2-star receivers are coming back. The defense is getting better. Like there's some good things going on with the Rams right now. So I would definitely, out of those three, go with Stafford. I'm on the fence if I want to go with either Cousins or Stafford, but I might lean Stafford over Cousins. Can you do this without dropping Cousins? That's my question. But pick up Stafford out of those three. That would be my advice. Looking to get rid of Brees and Debo, looking at getting Higgins into it, a follow-in Pacheco, Irving, or trade. Okay, I gotcha. Yeah, I would go with Tracy. I actually don't hate that at all. I mean, I mean, I really thought they're going to phase Higgins out and try to trade him, but and I could easily see them trying to get Higgins out and trying to play these younger guys more. But the way Debo that thing really it rubbed me the wrong way. I like Brees Hall, and I would strongly suggest you keep him. I don't know if you heard earlier, but his next 4 games are against 4 terrible defenses. So Brees Hall could have a monster next 4 weeks. But let's just say you're dead set on doing it. I would go with Tracy. Here's my advice to you, Jericho. Keep Brees Hall for the next 4 weeks. You'll thank me. If you go Debo and Higgins, that's fine. But or do this for me. Do me one favor before the Debo and Higgins. I great. Do me a favor. Colts at Jets. I know the production hasn't been there. Give me Brees Hall one more week against a bad Colts defense. Can you do that for me? If you have to make the trade, do it. I understand. I think you're giving up some points. You'll be able to make this trade next week. I'm telling you this right now. I mean, you'll be able to make the trade next week. And if Debo blows up against Seattle, which is possible, then you can get Higgins and Tracy. But if you have to do it, get Higgins and Tracy. That would be my thought process. But if you can, have Brees Hall against the Colts and see what he does. If he goes over 102 touchdowns, you'll thank me. If he doesn't do well, you can still make the trade. Let me know what you do. But yeah, if you do make this trade, I'd go Higgins and Tracy. But if you have the ability to hold on to Brees Hall for one more week, he's playing the Colts. He's going to have a good game. I've been saying that for a while, but yeah. Chicken Wing, thank you so much for the love, man. I really appreciate it. You have a terrific night. It's afternoon for me. I'm here in beautiful Las Vegas, but yeah, well. What's up, Tyreek Hill or Cooper Kupp tonight? So we talked about this earlier. Tyreek Hill is banged up, but I do think he will play. I'm not sold on Miami's defense. Tyreek Hill could have one of those nights that you may never. I mean, it's Monday night. You need a win. Like if Miami loses this game, I mean, they're looking at draft position. They're not. They're looking at draft position, and the season's almost over. Or the Rams lose this game, they still have a chance to win that. Kind of crazy NFC West, but they go 2 games behind the Cardinals, and they already got blown out by the Cardinals. They play them one more time, so they have a chance. If you need steady production, go with Kupp. Boom or bust, you go with Tyreek Hill. It's not the best answer. It's really, really not the best answer, but I'm leaning towards Kupp. If I need like 30 points tonight or something, I'm going with Tyreek Hill. If I just need to get some, if I'm a higher floor would be Kupp. I'm leaning towards Kupp. Kupp could always have a good game. I like the Rams defense a lot more than I like Miami's defense. And I think Stafford's better than Tua. So that's to answer this question out of order. But yeah, I like Stafford over Tua tonight. But keep in mind, I'm really geeked out about this game. But yeah, I like Stafford tonight. Kevin Cho, what's up, my brother? Hey, Dan Ben, a minute trade offer. I'm giving Chase Pollard. Wow. Okay. Wow. Okay. Wow. God, I almost want to write that down. Jesus. And I moved my chair. Okay. And for some reason or another, I moved all my pens. So, all right. Trade offer. Let's see if I can get this right. Chase, Pollard, and Connor for Barkley, McCarron, and Tucker Kraft. I have John and Swift my current running backs. Neighbors, Devontae, Waddle, and Higgins as your receivers. So you're okay. So I'm assuming you're making this trade. I don't know. All right. So Chase, Pollard, and Connor. So number one, I love the fact that you're selling high. I mean, Jamar Chase had the game of the year. You're selling as high as you can. So I like the fact that you're saying, "Hey, look, I'm going to sell high. I'm banking on the playoffs." All right, Barkley could be fantasy football MVP. McLaren, very solid, and productive, and Tucker Kraft. Yeah, but John and Swift as your current running backs. All right. Neighbors, Vontae Adams, Waddle, and Higgins. And you're doing it because Pollard and Connor doesn't start. So you have the John and Swift as your number one guys. You want to add Barkley. You already got two solid starters as receivers, but what you would end up doing is getting McLaren and the steadiness. Because what you would end up doing is you would be benching Devontae Adams, Neighbors, and so what you would have is you would have Neighbors and McLaren as your starters. I'm guessing. Not this week. All right, so you would start Devontae Adams. You would start McLaren. Probably you have you Waddle and Higgins probably right on your bench. Yeah, Arizona's on a bye this week. Because I'm looking. I was looking at this comment like, God, this is a tough. I'm gonna level with you. I mean, I understand the logic because what you want to do is that you got two running back, two receiver, two and one flex, correct? So what you want to do is that Barkley, you want to have Barkley, Bajan, and Swift, and then you just want some steady production out of your receiving core. So you're using Neighbors, Devontae, and McLaren, which are going to get solid production for the rest of the year. Like the idea. Here's my problem with it. You didn't put your tight end down, but I'm assuming you have another tight end, so you're not starting Kraft. Or I'm sorry, you're getting Kraft. Okay, so you're getting a starting tight end. I'm assuming you're banking on Kraft being the starting tight end for you. McLaren is solid. Barkley is an improvement over Pollard. So you're losing value on the trade. I mean, let's get that out of the way, Kevin. Chase, Pollard, and Connor has more value than Barkley, McLaren, and Kraft. All right, so let's get that out of the way. Kraft, I'm assuming, is your starting tight end going forward. So you get a starter there. You get number 2 receiver in McLaren. You're starting him this week with Neighbors on the bench. Then maybe he takes over the starting spot for Devontae. Maybe. More than likely, you're probably going with Neighbors and McLaren for the rest of the year. Barkley, Bajan, Swift are your 3 guys. Because the way you have your lineup right now, you're starting. I'm assuming you're starting Chase and Neighbors, and then probably started Swift, but I mean. Here's the issue, Kevin. You're losing value, but I understand the logic. You're trying to upgrade your tight end position. I'm assuming you're banking on McLaren being your number 2 or 1 over Neighbors and Devontae. By the way, you could also make a move with some of these receivers. You can make a move Devontae, Waddle, Higgins, if you want to upgrade at another position. Barkley becomes your running back number 1. What I love is that you get Barkley and Bajan on the same team, and you also have 2 starting receivers. You got an option. You got options here with Neighbors, McLaren, and Devontae as your receivers. I mean, would you, in order to Chase just has a lot of value, man. I mean, and you got with John. I'll be honest with you, man. I mean, you're giving up 2 solid running backs and the best receiver in football. I mean, the only real way I could really get behind this is because I understand what you're trying to do. You have to get a lot of value out of Kraft, and so I really want you to just do. I like Barkley and I like McLaren, right? But if you're giving up 2 the best receiver in football and 2 solid running backs, I want you to get a 3rd player better than Tucker Kraft. As much as I like Kraft, is there any wiggle room in this trade? Can you counter, because you're giving up the best receiver in football and 2 running back number 1s, and you're not getting enough back as far as I'm concerned. But I like Barkley and I like McLaren. I would change this if at all, if you have the ability to do this. What else can you get besides Kraft? That would be my question. I see some. I'm going to look at some of these other comments. I started this because I want to touch base on this. I want to dive into this a little more because I see what you're trying to do, because what you want is you want Barkley, you want Bajan, and you want Swift to be your 1-2 flex. And then you're wanting, I'm assuming, a combination of Neighbors, Devontae, and McLaren, which is solid, really solid. Again, I'm assuming Kraft is a big factor into this, but the one thing about Kraft is I think Musgrave is coming back. I don't know if Musgrave is out for the year or not, and I should know this, but I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, 5 touchdowns is solid. I mean, I'm looking at a tight end, 28 receptions, 376 and 5 for 9 games. I mean, 3 and 78 and a touchdown 2 weeks ago, 3 for 33 and a touchdown 3 weeks ago. Last week, 4 for 34. And I should know the issue with Musgrave, because if he comes back, then you can't bank on Kraft. I mean, Kraft's only gone over 50 3 times this year. The thing is that you're just not. Kevin, if you decide that you want to go forward with this trade, I get the logic behind it. You would need Kraft to just blow up for to really take advantage of this. I get Barkley because him and Bijan and Swift, you getting those three, all three of those guys could have monster games. The issue I have with Swift is there are some injuries to the Bears offensive line, and with Caleb Williams is almost regressing as a player, where you're maybe better off going with either Pollard or Connor as your starter instead of Swift. But I get the logic here. I mean, can I? I mean, I would make some trade. I would make some changes. This number one, I would get more than Tucker Kraft. Let's say it's not an option. Barkley, McLaren, and Kraft. Can you give up somebody who's not Jamar Chase? Can you give up Neighbors or Devontae Adams? But I understand the thought process behind it. So, Calvo, let me know what you end up doing. But I would go with Stafford tonight. Yeah, I would probably keep them both right now. Would you trade CeeDee Lamb for Mike Evans? I feel it's just too low. I don't see his value getting any better from here. No, here's the deal. I think CeeDee Lamb's value is still going to go up. I have no idea when Mike Evans is coming back. That's the issue. Austin's here to help out, brother. I would feel like I'd be wanting to trade Pickers and Neighbors for Chase, not the other way around. I would keep the only reason. Okay, that's a possibility of how bad the Bears have been lately. Barkley and Bijan as a 1 and 2 is pretty net. Yeah, and that's kind of my thought process is that okay, so you have Kincaid and he got banged up. So that's okay, that makes sense. I haven't had a chance to look at his injury issue. Keon Coleman's not going to play against the Chiefs. Kincaid. Kincaid addressed his brief attempt to return to action after suffering a knee injury early in the contest. Thought I could go, didn't feel good enough to run, to go out there and protect myself at the tight end. No. So it's unknown of Kincaid issue. Yeah, that I keep bouncing back to that too because I like the idea of Barkley and Bijan Robinson. Jamar Chase is the best receiver in football. That's why I don't want you to go through with this trade. I get the logic behind it, but if you can make this trade happen, is there any way you can make this trade happen and not get rid of Chase, or do you have to have Chase? Are you sure he wouldn't go for Neighbors or I forgot the other receiver that's involved in this. Are you sure he wouldn't go for Devontae Adams or Neighbors? I don't want you to give yeah. All right, so let's do this here. Okay, definitely Chase needs to be part of the beer. Okay. Okay, I'm thinking no right now. Just yeah, I'm thinking no too. I get it. Definitely chasing. Okay, all right. So Chase has to be part of the deal. Yeah, I wouldn't be mad if you pulled the trigger on this either. But if Chase needs to be part of the deal, um, okay. So if Chase has to be part of the deal, um, I understand you're getting rid of Pollard and Connor. I mean that part makes sense. I also like McLaren quite a bit. Now the guy has AJ Brown. Now AJ Brown is a little more upside, but here's the deal. I kind of like McLaren because he's been a steady, consistent performer in fantasy. And I think that his production's going to continue to be really, really solid. So I like that. Um, I can play around and like, hey, maybe you want Swift instead of Pollard, or keep Connor instead of Swift, or maybe something else. But I want you to get something more than Kraft. What? So that guy has AJ Brown. Okay, that's solid as well. Um, the issue is that if you ask for AJ Brown instead of Kraft, one, he's probably saying no, but you may not be able to use them. To be honest with you, which one of these guys are you going to leave on the bench? So, um, but the reason why I'm saying no on this, and I think you really don't want to do this, to be honest with you. You need to get more in Kraft out of this guy. Even with Dalton Kincaid being banged up, you're not breaking the bank at the tight end position. Um, so that would be my thought process here. Yeah, yeah. I would really. Are you sure it had? Okay, so definitely Chase needs to be part of the deal, and I get what you're thinking too, because if you got two starters at the running back position, because here's the deal, you have McLaren and you have Neighbors, and I like those players. You're getting steady production out of those guys. Maybe there's a week that you want to use Devontae Adams instead because let Neighbors isn't going to play. Neighbors is on a bye. So you're going with Devontae Adams against a bad Colts defense. Not bad. You're also going ahead and you're going McLaren. Where is it? I just saw it. I don't have it memorized, the schedule memorized yet. Yeah. McLaren on Thursday Night Football. I think I'll have a good game. Honestly, I'd like to see you make this trade before Thursday night. So if you do make this trade, you would have both Barkley and McLaren playing on Thursday Night Football. And then, Devontae would be a starter. And then, Bijan and Swift to be starting. Both of them have tough games, by the way. Atlanta going against a tough Broncos defense. And, Swift is going up against Green Bay. So you have some tough matchups going on. But whatever, in order to really really consider it, um, got to get more in Tucker Craft. Um, and I wouldn't hate you even with Kincaid being banged up. You may be able to find a waiver wire tight end, even though Kraft's probably a slightly better option. You're just not breaking the bank. Because I'm going to be honest with you, like you can go with Chase. Um, I almost want to start Pollard over Swift this week. Minnesota, ooh, that's a tough matchup too. Arizona's on a bye. Man, I really understand the logic and the reason why he wanted to do it. Trey Benson had 62 yards last week. And yeah, he led the team in rushing, and he's going to get more opportunities. 12 carries, 33 yards. He did get in the end zone. Also, he had 5 receptions for 80 yards, which he almost never does. So wildly productive. But they are getting. I think they gave Benson more touches just simply because it was just such a blowout. God. Yeah. Counter. I wouldn't hate you if you did it. I think you got people commenting in the chat. But let me see. But yeah, let me know. Makhaya 19. Probably butchered that name. I am so sorry. Can you help me with this trade, please? Absolutely. What is the trade? Fire away. We are here to help. Kevin, if I'm so full disclosure, I have a new work schedule. That's why I took off last week. I am in training this week. I know I'm available today. I don't know my availability is going to be for the rest of the week. I won't be on tomorrow. I'll be posting stuff in the community tab, but when I'll be on things like that, you can go old school. You can email me at dantalksfootball@yahoo. You can hit me up on social media. You can also comment on this video or any video community tab, and let me know what you end up doing. Do let me know what you end up doing, and stay in touch with me, because I want you to try to, if you do make this trade, I want to make sure you get this trade before Thursday night football. That way, okay, yeah, hit me up on email, because I had one guy, he sent me a bunch of emails. So actually, you know what? I haven't checked it today, but I will be checking my email after Monday Night Football. So I can get back to you tonight, or I can get back to you now. If I get back to you tomorrow, it may be tomorrow late Tuesday night. So Justin Jefferson and Evan Ingram for J.K. Dobbins, Brock Bowers, and DeAndre Hopkins. Okay. Gut reaction is no. However, I need a little more information from you. Justin Jefferson still wide receiver extreme. I would go right now with the quarterback situation. I would go Chase Brown, Justin Jefferson's my two top receivers in football, two top receivers in fantasy football. Brock Bowers is an upgrade over Ingram because of the way things are going on. DeAndre Hopkins is a low-end wide receiver number 2. And Dobbins, with Gus Edwards coming back, value diminishes, but is he somebody who's starting? I mean, are you getting because in this trade, you're getting 3 starters for 1, but you're losing value. I need a little more information on your roster, but I would, off the top of my head, I would recommend against this, because Justin Jefferson is as good as it gets in football. And you're also, I mean, let's take a look at Justin Jefferson's matchups over the next couple of weeks. Tennessee's tough, but I don't think that they have a defense that's just going to shut them down. Some tough matchups coming up, okay? Tennessee at Chicago, Arizona, Atlanta, really, really tough secondaries. Week 15's Monday night against Chicago, tough secondary, but I still kind of like it. All right. At Seattle for week 16, let's stop there, okay? But look, some tough matchups, but I mean, this is wide receiver number 1. Now, he had 5 for 48 last week. Maybe you just said, oh, wait a minute, he had 5 for 48 last week. He hasn't scored a touchdown in the last 3 weeks. Maybe I can sell high. Okay. If you're going to do this now, DeAndre Hopkins is not bad, but still a 2. Bowers is better than Ingram. How badly do you need a running back? So I need a little more information on this off the top of my head. And I guarantee you most people in the chat are going to say the same thing. Look at the last 3 weeks, targets 9, 9, and 9. Now, the production last week was low, but the 2 weeks, 7 for 137, 8 for 115. I know he hasn't scored in 3 straight games. And what is it, 5? But he has 5 touchdowns. So, like, he started off the first 4 games of the season with a touchdown. Then the last, well, let's just look at the last 4, okay? Last 4 games, only 1 touchdown. You can go last 5 and go only 1. The touchdowns are going to continue. I mean, I would not move on from Justin Jefferson unless you get a – I do think Hopkins' value is just going to go up, but some things you need to know. Juju Smith-Schuster is coming back. All right. Juju Smith-Schuster is coming back. I don't know when Hollywood Brown's coming back. Isaiah Pacheco is going to be coming back. Chiefs like to run the ball. Last week against Broncos, leading receiver was Kelsey. Second leading receiver was Kareem Hunt. So they like to run to the backs. Running back number 1. Okay, so he may or may not be. No, I wouldn't do this because like you got Derrick Henry. By the way, this is great job getting Derrick Henry and Justin Jefferson. This is phenomenal, and I love your thought process too. This is smart. Get Justin Jefferson, trade high, and you upgrade. I do think Dobbins is a slight upgrade over Brian Robinson. But let's take a look at Brian Robinson's production. Robinson's production is not bad. Like you're not getting a monster uptick, even as much. Wait a minute, he's out. Okay, so he's a limited production for Monday. Huh. He didn't play against the Steelers. I didn't think about that. As much as I love Hopkins and the way he's played, he hasn't been. Man, you do need a running back, though. So he went 4 for 56, and he had 2 touchdowns against Tampa Bay on Monday night. Targets since he's been achieved 3, 9, and 5. Bowers is a massive upgrade too. I as much like Evan Ingram. I like the thought process. You still, I still want to see you get more because you're getting a low end too, and an upgrade with Dobbins and an upgrade Bowers. But this person's getting a starting tight end and the best receiver in football, arguably. I want to see you pick 6 and 19. Can you get more? I'm drawing I'm not sure. You're getting pick 6 and 19. So is this Dynasty auction? I understand the logic. I want you to get more. I'm on board with your thought process and your logic. I need more than DeAndre Hopkins. Can you counter and get back to me Um, oh yeah, oh yeah, 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 oh yeah, okay. Yeah, this is phenomenal. Derrick Henry and Justin Jefferson. I understand what you want to do here. Okay. I would really, really, really want to see you keep Jefferson and Derrick Henry. Really want to see you keep these two. And I like Evan Ingram, who has some nice value. If you decide to move on with Justin Jefferson, get a lot more. Hold on, counter. Whoever's trading that can give you more. So earlier, I don't know how much of the show you caught, but normally when I instigate a trade, um, I offer less than I'm willing to pay. All right. You ever bought a car? Like the sticker value is 20,000, but they can sell it for 18. So I'm going to offer, 15 or 16. I'm making some numbers up, but bottom line, you always want to offer somebody less. So what I'm guessing is somebody offered you this trade, thinking that, hey, you're getting 3 for 2, which I like. You're getting an upgrade with Dobbins and Bowers at 2 positions. You're getting a big name in DeAndre Hopkins, which is also always a good thing. But let's be honest, though, as far as production, you're going to get an uptick with Bowers, even though Ingram has a world of potential. Dobbins is starting to lose carries. I still think that if he plays all 17 games, he could lead the NFL in rushing. I really believe that, even with Edwards coming back and Haskins getting some carries and all that. But you're losing out on this trade. Whoever offered this trade is lowballing you, but they're willing to counter with something better. And then you may want to take advantage of that counter. That said, I would really, really like for you to keep these two. For St. Brown and James Conner. I actually would. Let me ask you this: can you get somebody else to accept Connor as much as I like Connor? Um, I work with a dude named Connor. I love that guy. I absolutely love that dude. Um, does it have to be Connor? But by the way, I do like that trade, and I'll tell you why I like that trade. Yeah, this is a good playoff schedule. Here's why I like this trade, because with St. Brown, you get a legitimate you get a legitimate starter. Okay, St. Brown, Jefferson, you're losing a little bit, but St. Brown's wildly productive. You get another running back besides Derrick Henry and Brian Robinson. By the way, you got 3 guys. I'm assuming that you're in a 2 running back, 2 wide receiver flex league. So what you would do when Robinson comes back and when he's getting ready to have a good game, Henry, Robinson, Connor, and then you still got St. Brown, and I don't know what the rest of your roster is like, but I actually, in your situation where Robinson's been out the last couple of weeks, I would want a little more than Connor, but I would. You're kind of spitballing here, I'm assuming. Okay. So what I would recommend is something more than Connor, but would I take St. Brown and Connor for Jefferson? The answer is yes, I would, because you're going to lose a little bit of production in St. Brown. But if Connor's your starter, that production for a player who's not going to be there and Robinson makes up for it. I like that. And then you also have Derrick Henry. Now you gotta prepare a little bit, because the one thing I'd want you to be worried about is that you're going to have some issues with Derrick Henry production dropping. Trey Benson led the team in rushing last week in a blowout, but Benson's a home run threat. Connor's not. I can see Connor's touches going down. I can see Henry's touches going down. And that's why I said, can you get somebody more than Connor? But do I like this trade? I actually do. When is your playoff start? Is it week 12 or is it week 14? Keep in mind, Arizona has a bye this week. I know Detroit's already had their bye, and I'm almost positive Minnesota's had their bye. All right. Week 15 through 17 is your playoffs. So here's what you're looking at. Early on. Monday Night Football, Minnesota, Chicago at Minnesota, and Atlanta at Vegas. So that's if you make the trade, you get one player on Monday night. But I love having guys on Monday night, and Justin Jefferson, could be. I mean, that's pretty good having Jefferson, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Buffalo at Detroit. Oh, what a fun game that is going to be. That's a huge game. So yeah, good value there. Arizona will be playing New England. Ooh, that's tough. And Baltimore will be playing at the New York Giants. Tough front seven, but you never know. I would ask for something more than Connor. I really would. And then week 15 with your playoffs with Arizona, I mean, you have some tough matchup. Well, at least one tough matchup. Week 15, New England at Carolina, and that Carolina game, you could just run right through them. So I would try to get more, but would I do this because you're worried about Brian Robinson's value? Yeah. Kind of throw something else out there. What can you let me ask you this here. I'm going to end the show in just a few minutes. Can you send me your whole roster real fast? Because I would really like for you to keep Jefferson and Henry. Jefferson for St. Brown and Connor, I like. Is there another running back that you can pick up though, so you can keep Justin Jefferson? Because I'm listen. Okay, so here's your playoffs, week 15 through 17. Okay, hold on. Week 15 through 17, Justin Jefferson. Okay, now keep in mind week at Chicago, it's a Monday night game. Seattle could blow up. Green Bay could blow up. I want you to keep that. Now, Amon-Ra, you're probably going to get 3 almost as productive weeks. I'm not going to lie. Buffalo, Chicago, San Francisco, tougher matchups. Okay. Arizona, 15, 16, 17. Keep in mind, Connor banged up. New England's tough. Carolina could run right through them. Is there a waiver wire running back available so you can keep Jefferson and Henry? That's and by the way, listen, I'm going to end the show. Dan Talks Football. Did I say something different? It's in the description below. Dan Talks Football at Yahoo. After Monday Night Football, I can answer any emails. You can also DM me on social media. Warning, if you DM me on social media and your profile pic is a girl in a bikini, I'm not going to answer it. I will delete you. You send me anything close to pornography, corn. Send me anything close to corn without the C and add the P. I am deleting and reporting you. Do not send me anything even closely related to that. Even if your profile is an innocent picture of a girl wearing a swimsuit, I don't do that. All right. add me to social media, DM me. But yeah, let me know what you end up doing. But I would scour the waiver wire before I would get rid of those two guys. That's just me, and that's what I would do. But if you did make this trade, I wouldn't blame you. But I mean, look, Justin Jefferson these 3 weeks could be gold, and he could win you the playoffs by yourself. Derrick Henry, on the other hand, is those 3 weeks could be really, really tough. Could be really, really tough. But I mean, they're not running away. So that Giants 15, Pittsburgh 16, Houston 17. Still could have 3 good games. So yeah. Let me know what you end up doing. Chris, what's up, brother? Trade Brian Thomas Jr. and Rashawn Johnson for DK Metcalf and Jonathan Brooks. So here's the deal. Jonathan Brooks is a guy I've been eyeballing, but after Hubbard got the big deal and played lights out, and they've won 2 in a row, I don't know what kind of value he has or doesn't have. You're kind of rolling the dice. So basically the question is, Rashawn Johnson, who has very limited value, the Bears beat up offensive line. You're basically asking DK Metcalf for Brian Thomas Jr. DK's been a little banged up. Brian Thomas Jr., unlimited upside. Keep in mind, Jacksonville, I 1,000% believe will make a coaching change after they lose to the Lions. All right. Now, Seattle is a little interesting because I'm not really sold on Seattle at all, but DK Metcalf has been pretty solid. Head coach Mike McDonald noted Monday he expects Metcalf to practice Wednesday. So is he coming back? It's a game against Seattle. But when he does play, he's been the most consistent of the receivers. And you kind of need him for that game. So I don't recognize the last name, Chris. Please hit that subscribe button. You may have heard me say this. If you're not new, I say this a lot. It's like, what's your favorite flavor? Is it chocolate or strawberry? And there's no real wrong answer. And that's kind of, I be honest with you, I would keep Brian Thomas Jr. over DK Metcalf. Now, Rashawn Johnson for Jonathan Brooks, that's interesting, but I would stay as is because I think with Chuba Hubbard contract and the way he's been playing, I don't know if Jonathan Brooks is even going to get on the field, how much they really want to use him or not use him. It'll be interesting to see that situation with Rashawn Johnson. And I mean, I'm going to level with you. I would trade Brooks for Johnson because I don't think Johnson's going to be productive at all. But despite of what I firmly believe is going to be a head coaching change in Jacksonville, I would keep Brian Thomas Jr. So I would keep what you have. But if you can get Johnson for Brooks, why not? Let me know what you end up doing. Malik Ackers, Stu. This is. So you have A-Chain. I would go with Stafford. All right, you need 37 points combined. The good news is there's a very, very, very good chance. I'm assuming you're in a PPR league. If so, there's a very good chance you get 30 with A-Chain by himself. I don't know if you saw Austin Jackson is on IR. He's out for the year. Another hole in the offensive line. So I'm expecting A-Chain to catch about 5 to 8 passes. What you want to do is, if you're Miami, is you want to get the ball out of Tua's hands as fast as possible. So I think A-Chain could have a big game. I like the Rams to win this game pretty comfortably. I'm not really sold on Miami's defense, but I think the Rams are a good team. I like Stafford. The offensive line's coming back healthy. He's got 2 receivers. I would go with Stafford, and I think you'll get about I actually think it'll get over 40. Malik, do me a favor. You can DM me, you can email me. I won't be on tomorrow. That's why I did special Fantasy Football Monday. Of course, I always can talk Fantasy Football Monday. My situation is I started a new job. I'm in training next week. I don't know what my schedule is going to be like, but I'm off today, so I did a show. Go with Stafford. A-Chain should be able to get you some quality points tonight, and you should be able to get over 40. Let me know what you do, because even if you go with Tua and A-Chain, try to do the double dip, I wouldn't blame you either. I'm going to level with you. I think A-Chain's going to have at least 5 to 8 catches tonight, but with the offensive line injury to Jackson, I would lean towards Stafford. Go with Stafford, go with A-Chain. Hope for a shootout, and let me know if you end up winning tonight. I will be pulling for you. And by the way, you can DM me on social media, email me. You can comment on this video. I answer all my comments, but I won't be answering anything till after Monday Night Football. So, guys, that's it. Thank you so much for joining me on a special Monday I'm ending show badly. I'm joining. Thank you for joining me on a special Fantasy Football Monday. It is unknown of the schedule going forward, but I will be keeping you up to date. I'll be trying to come on as much as I possibly can with the new work schedule. It's unknown of what I can do at this time. Thank you so much for the comments. Let me know how you do in the comment section below, or you can DM me, or you can email me, whatever you want to do. And I can't wait to hear from you, hopefully very soon. Have a great night. Good luck. Malik, I'm pulling for you. Have a great night. Good luck. And I'll see you again, hopefully really, really soon.